I never realized like how loud my fans are, like my PC fans.
Good morning, Europe. Good afternoon, Asia, and good night, America. Welcome to the first episode of Burnout Hangover with me in the podcast, Luke Carmona
Hello, hello.
and Jesus Crisp.
What's up?
So finally, we are here. It took a while, but the project has finally worked out. I'm actually really excited about how it's gonna go because this is the kind of thing that I always wanted to do, to have this kind of content that is about strictly speaking of topics that we are all interested about. We usually comment about after races or something, but never have the chance to actually give them visibility through a YouTube video, for example, so everyone can see what people talk about, what are the news, what are the thing people are talking about in the paddock and stuff. And yeah, I think this is the best chance for it. So besides us three, that will be the regular attendance to the podcast. Everyone, of course, is welcome to bring their topics, their questions, and also if they want to join the podcast sometime in the future, they can just let me know, and we could make it happen. How are your feelings about it?
It's just excited to just talk casually about this, not talk about all sorts of topics without needing to get into a broadcaster kind of mindset and just talk whenever. I don't know. Great start already.
Yeah, he's so excited he can't put his words together.
I'm still trying to get my mind is kind of in this weird set of like because I'm used to doing the streams during the races, obviously. So I like to talk a lot of details and statistics, and this is not that anymore. So I gotta figure out how to do podcasting now.
So you want, we can get started with the first topic of the day, which is the most recent one. Basically, yesterday's Fast Friday fifth round of in this. What was the name of this track? Ice Plume
Ice,
Raceway.
the track that I always, for some reason, thought was pronounced Ice Plum, despite the fact that it doesn't have a B at the end. It's an E. I don't know why. As I always thought Ice Plum. Ever since it first came out, this is what I thought it was saying. But no, Ice Plume. So,
Ice Plume track, the raceway. That's the second time we're racing a road course this season in Fast Friday. The results I don't remember the results exactly. We have here in the screen now the pictures of the podiums. First race was a podium for Morticia, Villota, Rao, Hakuro, and Zenitho, and the second one was for me, Candy Tomorrow, and Rao Hakuro, who was the only person to reach 2 podiums yesterday. Rao, that it's certainly becoming really strong driver. He's also a rookie like Zenitho, and this group of people that comes from supernova races, but they are really competent, they are really decent, and they are doing a good progress. I think it's one of the figures of yesterday's race.
I don't even remember seeing Rao at Supernova. He's just one of those names I guess I just wasn't really paying attention to for whatever reason. No disrespect to him at all. I just simply don't remember. But then suddenly he shows up. You guys say he's Nova, and he joins Wifflemind, and is just performing right out of the bat, and it's good to see. I was racing with him quite a bit in the second race. I got to battle with him when I had fresher tires and he didn't, so and he was fairly difficult to pass in a good way. And then after my tires were starting to wear out, he managed to hold his pace in front of me and took third place, well deserved.
How about Morticia winning that first race?
Yeah,
Morticia
Morticia.
Villota.
I mean, Morticia is always there. I mean, it's one of the oldest, of the most old school drivers we had, and it's true that lately she's more involved with us than she used to be. Because I remember there was this period between GP1, Season 1, and this year pretty much that she didn't tend to participate that much anymore in our official races at least. And I feel her way more involved now. That's very nice to see because of course she has the level to compete for victories and for anything. And it's always welcome to have such level of drivers.
I think I know this. There might be a slight interior motive to her racing in Fast Friday right now, but I think for the most part she's just racing to race.
What motive?
Luke is trying to share some conspiracy theories.
Yes, share the conspiracy. What is it about?
No, he really can't go into it because I know it too. But I think it's cool that Morticia won, and then who was the other that won? Was it Yusra?
What?
Yes, Astra. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But Candy finished second, right?
Yes.
Or third, or
yes, we had a fight yesterday in the second race. Candy and I for the whole race, basically. I mean, the first half was not that a fight because she was ahead of me, and I couldn't really fight her that much. But the second half was definitely a fight between both cars, wheel to wheel. Was very satisfying fight. I was commenting, in fact, before the few laps before the race finished, that race is another one that I'm one of those races that I usually have with Candy from time to time that are possibly the driver with whom I have the best duels, the most balanced ones at least, because of course I have duels with other drivers, but maybe they're not that common, or are duels where one driver is stronger than others, like the duels I have with any of you two, or duels I have with other people. But with Candy it's usually quite balanced, and they are usually quite clean as well, of course, and those are really enjoyable, those duels.
yeah, Candy is always good for a good hard battle. You can trust her pretty much most of the time. So she's not really known to be super aggressive or do dumb things on the track. She does rage sometimes, but if she rages against you, you probably deserved it.
She's always got a reason, like a good reason to be mad. I honestly don't have a lot of memories or history racing against her, considering the fact that most of the time when she races, I am hosting, or it's GT Super Series and I'm already out in the front. But when I do get to race against her, which doesn't happen a lot, it's quite a bit of fun.
I think it happens with certain regularity in oval-related races. I think because I remember at least, for example, some races where you two and for example Marie and someone else take the lead and you start to fight for the lead and stuff. Maybe in road course it's not that common, but I think in ovals I have saw you both fighting from time to time.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, in ovals, but
Hmm.
the thing with ovals is that you fight everybody, and that those battles can last for one lap to only 2 seconds, and it the track and everything is just so fluid there. You don't really think too much about it because there's so much action happening on an oval.
Well, that's true. There is more common to find other people to fight, but still, I think that usually there are some drivers in particular where maybe you fight more than with others. Because even in ovals, even if the fights tend to be, I mean, the groups tend to be way more packed. Uh, Still, the level is significant, and it's normal that at some point the group is split into groups or something with more or less the same drivers in them. But yeah.
Yorkie has just joined us in the chat. Good morning to you, Yorkie.
Good morning, Yorkie. It's also Emmy in the chat, by the way. Good night in this case for Emmy. Uh, and yeah, this was the result of the Fast Friday. And in case you didn't see, I'm gonna put it again. I don't know if you can see the tables very well. I mean, I promise this is the one where the tables is the worst visible. Maybe I could have not removed the part in the middle, but whatever. These are the standings right now. There are two tables. These are not the results of the race. These are the standings at the moment. The table at the top is the one of the championship, and the table from below is the one of lead laps. Uh, More or less are the same standings, not exactly, but the first four positions, I think they are the very same, which is I am leading at the moment with Luke P2, Morticia P3, and Candy P4. In lap leads, the difference is way smaller because I only have one more lap than you at the moment, but you are still have the record of the most lead laps in a single race, which was at Gepardo race 1, in fact.
I was a bit worried that this was going to be another repeat of either the season prior or the one before that, where I just kept winning, and always running up front. But no, I'm pleasantly happy and surprised. Well, not surprised. I was about to say pleasantly surprised. That's why I started with that word. But I'm happy that I'm not dominating at all right now. It's a mix of the different circuits. I don't think the car updates because I haven't really done too much at all in terms of general handling over a wide scope of all the different circuits. But so I think it's a mix of the different tracks and the increase in competition that has showed up.
By the way, JC, you didn't race yesterday in the end, right?
No, I'm really not capable of doing that reliably. So I just show up to watch
Because
mostly.
you're still working, right, on Fridays.
Yeah,
Okay, makes sense.
I just want to see some, drama break out live in real time. But unfortunately, none of that happened.
It's
I
We're
did.
a bit.
it's happening less every time, right? These dramas and stuff. I feel at least that they're not that common. At least, I mean, I guess in Proto Cup it is still some because you know people are not that experienced there and they want to take the chance to win the championship or win races and stuff. But I think the dramas are not that much a thing anymore.
I mean, Fast Friday is also a far more casual series. People show up expecting or not expecting a whole lot out of it.
So yeah, I guess that's pretty much about Fast Friday, unless you want to add something else.
Yeah, I mean, if something else comes up, we can circle back to it.
In that case, we can
The,
move to the first result from last week, which is Proto Cup. Proto Cup, let me see, I have the pictures here as well. Proto Cup that it was the second round at Songdo, same track that later held hosted GT Super Endurance that we will check, of course, as well. At the moment, the championship is Zenitho leading with 150 points, followed very closely by Rao Hakuro with 140. In this race, I remember I couldn't call it drama, but it is true that there was a couple polemic situations there. I remember first that famous move of Daisuke overthrown in the last turns before the race finished, and also I remember, of course, Clifford coming to the boy channel to share his personal experience in the race, which was not particularly positive. What do you recall from that moment, Luke?
Well, I mean, the moment has passed in the sense that the drivers have understood their mistakes, and have said that they're going to avoid such actions in the future, or at least do their best to. And with Clifford and voicing his concerns afterward, I mean, that's all totally understandable. Everyone has their own different levels of tolerance, and Proto Cup probably just isn't necessarily his cup of tea. It's like any other race in Second Life. Honestly, that isn't super heavily organized and regulated. You just show up and drive, and anyone can do it, and you're gonna have chaos at some points. I mean, when you have an open category like that, it's just to be expected.
I don't know. I think it's pretty well organized, but I think what people struggle with is that like it's like a developer series, so everybody's trying to prove themselves, kind of make a name for themselves. So there's gonna be a lot of tensions, a lot of I guess bad blood building between, and maybe rivalries in the future.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people do call it on the surface a developer series. I personally, like with GP2 and Grand Prix Am, as it started way back in 2021, or I guess 2020, I think of it as more of, first and foremost, just a series where people can show up and race that particular style of vehicle. So in this case, Proto Cup is an extension of GT Super Endurance. People can show up and race prototypes in an environment that doesn't make them feel obligated to participate. They don't have to deal with teams. The rules are a bit more laxed. And if they want to, then they can use it as a development series for personally, if they want to, or if they want to try and get their name out there and say, hey, I'm available, look at me, I'm doing really well out here, please sign me, all that kind of stuff. First and foremost for me, it's just one of those, it's just an extra place for people to race. And also because some people don't want to I know that Asdra put restrictions on it, but in like with GP2 back in the day, it allows people who well, let's just say, because Asdra does have restrictions, so there's a restriction, so you can't have people like Morticia, who Morticia doesn't like to race when she feels obligated to, only by her own choice, and that's kind of what Proto Cup is like, and what GP2 was like. It's just a place where people can show up. They don't have any pressure on them, really.
I'm sorry for Morticia that she couldn't race this time in Proto Cup because, of course, Morticia, since is what I was saying before, since she was not that involved in FBA series before, and the restrictions to GP2 were based on FBA performance and stuff, we couldn't really. It was a bit tricky to find a way to prevent Morticia from taking part because of not anything against Morticia, but it's true that if the series is more focused on newer people to show up and have their chances. Of course, Morticia is a driver of another category by now, and it was not the goal to have a drivers of such a category in the series. The same this season for Proto Cup. We want to have other drivers, newer drivers, have their chance to shine, to that's it. That build a name, that call people's attention, to be part of teams in the future or whatever. So yeah, I'm sorry for that, Morty, but I hope you understand the purpose behind this rules. Of course, you are always welcome to participate in GTSE or GTSS if you want.
Well, she also does intend, though, when we go to Tokyo, obviously we have the normal Proto Cup race on Saturday, but the day after that, it's multi-class. Proto Cup joins the GT Super Endurance field out on track. And in that race, Proto Cup is open to anybody. Morticia plans to race in Proto Cup in that class
True. That's true.
during that race. Yeah, so what was my thought? I was about to go on. With Proto Cup, and I think one misconception that some people have with development series is that this is a little bit of a tangent because I've heard it from a few different people where at the end of a race, someone will IM me, will say, that guy sure is a rookie, isn't they? And they say it sarcastically because this person, whoever it is that ran off with the lead and dominated, and they seem like they're way ahead of everybody. I mean, everyone's got a different idea of what a development or feeder series should be, but again, as I was saying earlier, it's pretty wide open. We've got the restrictions in place that we want, and if someone new and inexperienced shows up and happens to just run off with it, well, more power to them. They fit the qualifying standards, and if they happen to do super well, that's just better look on their resume for anyone who wants to sign them, and if they want to join a team.
I think if you put 10 drivers who have never raced anything in Second Life and you put them in a Proto Cup race, there's gonna be somebody who dominates over everybody. So, there's always gonna be somebody that's better than everybody. It's not
Yeah, it's like the thing with SL racing in general. It's every single vehicle, unless it's scripted otherwise, drives exactly the same. It is as spec as it gets, and in that regard, you're going to, with it being keyboard racing and all that stuff, it's a lot more prevalent as to who knows more than their counterparts. So you more consistently tend to have the same people running up front, and it's a lot easier to see. It also, though, to add to that, though, the skill levels between the drivers are also very vast. Like if you were to have a big, huge professional pro series like Trackmania or some spec sim racing series, and you get a whole bunch of the best people showing up, then it's not going to look so spread out, obviously, because you're trying to get the best of the best. Second Life, I mean, we're a pretty niche group of people to begin with, so you're not really going to have pros up and down the grid. You're just going to have a lot of just differences in pace all over the place.
So result-wise, let's talk about a little bit about the result of the races. We had in the first race Rao Hakuto winning with Mila P2 and I think it was Daisuke P3. And in the second race we had Zenitho winning with Rao P2 and Hina P3. Rao again was the only one to have double podium, same than yesterday at Fast Friday, and Zenitho is the only driver to achieve 2 victories now, I think. So for now it seems like Zenitho and Rao are clearly dominating the series, although of course we cannot ignore the good performance of other drivers that even if they didn't have the chance to get a podium this time, they did last time and they are still high in the standings as Clifford and Naomi are. Well, Naomi, the chat says, we have powered some mentorship to some interested drivers such as Zenitho, who as far as I knew was still in their first year and when I met outpaced them easily in practice GTSS ad hoc races, which I can't do now, which is awesome. He's as well focused rookie.
Zenitho has definitely improved very quickly.
Zenitho is definitely very fast driver. I think it's from this group of rookies. To me, I think he's probably the strongest one. It's true that Rao is quite strong as well, and I believe that Rao might even be slightly more consistent. I mean, I feel traffic management wise, RAW handles it quite well. I could say even to the level of some of the top tier drivers nowadays, because if you saw Ross recordings of his races, he really has a good control of the traffic. In the first race, especially when the top qualifying drivers started from the very back, and they had to go between all the other drivers in order to achieve a P1. That video, I have it. If you want to see it later, I can share it with you. You can see there how well he controls the traffic situations. So that's a bit there. You have Zenitho that is clearly like possibly the driver with the best performance at the moment, but Rao, which is quite close in performance, definitely has the best traffic management and race handling situation. Race situation handling at the moment as well. So it's gonna be an interesting duel to see between those two for the rest of the season. Also, not only Proto Cup, but also in GT Super Endurance, because they are also racing in different teams in GT Super Endurance. Teams that we will see later, but also are also tied in the championship at the moment. The Bergarden 93 and the Renaissance Bank with the Mint 14.
Oh, that's right.
What were you saying, JC?
I was wondering if Senizo was in GTSE, but you already answered that.
Yes, he's racing in GTSC this season in one of my cars. And if you want, we can actually move to GTSE already, because I also have the results here. Or the standing, better said.
So this season has been like the rise of the super teams, where like each team has like 8 to 10 drivers. I'm not sure how that started, but
Uh,
sure.
but I think, well, no, there's only, I think, one new team that, Asterisk, who joined with 4 drivers. That's only 2 per car. That's not big super team. It's only Alpinium that was coming in with 6 drivers, plus their extras. Unless I guess you want to count the Evergarden Academy drivers, but those are just Academy drivers. I wouldn't really call that a super team.
Georgie says, Clifford is not the only person who was not happy with on-track attitudes. I could see who else did not, or I will not return for races. I mean, I know what situation George is referring to, because I remember that discussion in the chat, which was about that famous move that Daisuke had on Tron. This is something that, of course, we have to understand a couple of things. First is, as mentioned before, it is a development series, which means that it's a series where people is supposed to learn about racing, and that means not only learn to race, but learn other things, like learn driver etiquette, learn how to handle certain situations, how to react, how to control your emotions under certain situations. All of that needs to be learned in this series. So this is how we need to understand Proto Cup, and if it happens in the future again, GP2. We have to understand them as series where people are there. At least our goal is to have people there learning different aspects of racing, and we need everyone to be understanding on this sense and patient, because if I understand that in GTSC, for example, that could have a different result, because their drivers are expected already to have a proper behavior and understanding of certain concepts. But in Proto Cup, we need to keep that point of view, the point of view of a category for people to learn the different aspects of racing. And in that sense, what respects to me, since of course Daisuke is part of my academy, and I'm responsible of his behavior on track. Of course, he was told about the situation. It's not like it is ignored or something. He knows that he was explained the situation, why it's not good, what he can do instead if something like that happened, like giving a position or something. And that's what it is in the end. We need to be, we cannot be punishing with people there. We need to be we need to teach them so they can in the future be able to race in the bigger categories and be respected for that and be a good asset for the community, right?
Uh, on the other side of that, development and learning how to drive respectfully. On the other side of that is typically the victim of those actions. And to me, one of the biggest things that you need to learn how to manage, other than your car, and I would say this is above that, is your emotion. Because there is going to be a lot of mistakes out there, especially in a kind of like a rookie class field, and um, yeah, you're gonna get agitated, you're gonna get pissed, but if you can't handle all the emotions that comes with that, you're just gonna devolve into like a worse driver because you're gonna feel like, what do I do? Do I retaliate? Do I just quit? So managing your feelings is a huge part of this whole SL racing thing.
Yeah, this is something that I learned as well with time. I mean, of course, for those that watch my streams, when bullshit happens, I'm vocal about it, but I am vocal, and then for the next day I already forgot. It's like I can give the example for GTSS that we will speak about it later. Last race I was very pissed at the end of the race, but that doesn't mean that I quit the race nor I retaliate on the other drivers or I go to the messages of the driver whoever causes me trouble to bullshit to trash talk him or something. That's what you need to control. You can be pissed, of course. If something goes bad, you are not gonna be happy. That makes all the sense. You cannot be happy. You cannot pretend it didn't happen. It's normal, but you can handle that in different ways, and definitely being destructive towards that person is definitely the wrong approach on that sense. So even if you are mad at that point, maybe the better you can do is just calm down and go sleep, and the following day you can think on it more calmly about what can be done. If you can do something, you can speak to the person or speak to someone or that kind of things. I guess.
I don't really think about it too much when I'm out there and when I'm watching. It's like, I mean, the move on that Daisuke had on Tron was, it what wasn't a good move at all, and I still stand by exactly what I said on stream. Uh, that being said, there is just too much going on in Second Life, be it the cars, the track, the platform, the network connections, and physics being physics, and uh, I mean, a lot of these people come in. Some of them have never done any kind of racing whatsoever before this. That like it's like showing up at an arcade, seeing a racing game, and saying, "Ooh, that looks fun," and they give it a shot. You get a lot of those people showing up, um, who they may pick up on things quickly, but they're still going to have a lot of um, wrinkles in their skill. They're not going to understand. They're not going to have a lot of spatial awareness, and I mean, SL racing has been like this since the beginning. The turnover rate is crazy. It's just how it is. This is not a racing platform, and there are places, and it is easy to tell when someone does a stupid move, be it on by intent or not, and you call them out on it, as we did with Daisuke. I don't mean to keep hammering him. I'm sorry if he's listening to this at some point. No, I'm not sorry, but we're just using him as an example because that's the just easy to use right now. But um,
Just the most recent one.
it's the most recent one. It's I don't know. I don't. I'm not bothered by it too much. I've seen everything.
Well,
I
you're
mean,
not bothered by it, but they are.
oh, I know other people can be bothered by it, but I mean, I've been around it enough to where I can understand when you have to kind of just bite your tongue and either give people benefit of the doubt or again, I'm not trying to defend everything, all the craziness and BS that happens out there. I'm just saying there's only so much that can be done at the end of the day.
Yorkie says it's not the rookies who are the problem, it's an attitude difference between drivers. Some will decide it's not worth hours of practice in the week.
Which again, that's totally fair. That's my whole point earlier about the turnover rate. It's you got all these different people who come in with different goals. Some people just show up because they only want to race. They don't care about anything else. They just see something cool and they want to be a part of it. Some people show up with the goal of winning a race or getting on the podium or winning the championship, and obviously those are perfectly fine goals to go after. We encourage people to set goals and go after them, and it's just I'm going to probably keep repeating this a lot throughout the rest of the year, but all things considered, someone's got to finish in last, and if everyone wants to finish in first, there are going to be a lot of unhappy people.
I think a good blend of both of those things. Somebody who was looking to make a name for themselves, but also had kind of a hard time managing. I don't know if you hear that cat, but they had a hard time managing kind of stuff that happened, like incidents on the track. Was the legendary Nico, and he wanted to be the best. He had set goals for himself, but he still got very agitated with stuff. So
But he was also
it,
getting agitated because people were going after him for his driving style.
yeah, and he had actually that's another thing in the mix. Like he was also very aggressive, and he would go out there and agitate people himself. So he was kind of like the the perfect mix of everything in Second Life, and it's nice to see him around sometimes when he joins the races.
Yeah, with Whistlemine keep dragging him in for GT Super Endurance races. Although the last two, I think he was supposed to race in the last two, but he didn't, did he? I don't think he raced in round 1 or 2. He was there, but then he wouldn't actually race.
He raced in race 1, but not in race 2. In race 2, he was supposed
Okay.
to race, but in the end didn't arrive in time, so Van Wiedemann had to race only with Ragnar and Rao.
Oh, Nico was actually there right before the sim restarted, so he hasn't really taken it that seriously. I don't think I've ever seen him practice. He just kind of shows up last minute when he's needed. And I mean, the fact that he can still compete without practicing is a testament to how much he's developed. I mean, he's not a GP1 champ, a two-time GP1 champion for nothing, right? He's won 2 GP1 championships. Am I correct?
Two-time GP1
That is
champions
correct.
and two-time GP2 champion as well.
Yeah.
The
So
best of her generation, I would say. Yeah, at least in that moment.
yeah. So to add to all of this, another problem that can contribute to anger and whatnot out there is when people start to get a bit like people who don't want to stop driving, but they're getting fed up to the point where they're just saying, screw it. If people are going to race me hard, I'm going to race them hard. And then overall, it just starts to devolve as time goes on, and people start disregarding others' safety and their own, and that has happened every now and again. And it's like I've seen it happen in GP1. We've all seen it happen in GP1, where despite my best efforts, and people can come to their own conclusion as to what my best efforts are to regulate the driving out there, it did devolve a bit because people were just getting fed up with each other. And it's like I can regulate people to an extent. Well, I mean, I work to my limits where I'm not going to go crazy. But there is a point where you just have to tell drivers. I mean, a series is only as good as the drivers who are in them. And if people are going to give up trying to race clean, then I don't know what else to tell people sometimes.
Yeah, it's it's a story. It's a story at the end. Because of course you have the two sides of those who race clean, those who doesn't race that clean, and that constant battle between them, and in the end, what side wins? It's like the fight between the light and the darkness.
I
The
think
light,
the
yes.
I think the point is that like since we're talking about all of this with bringing up the Proto Cup is for all the drivers that are going through thoughts of maybe quitting or they're just super frustrated with the results after practicing for hours. It's just like just stick to it. Just keep showing up, just keep trying to practice because not every race is the same. So there is going to be frustrations. That's just part of it. So just stick with it,
You got to
basically.
take it race by race. It doesn't help, I will admit, to the fact that it is every 2 weeks, so you have to wait 14 days for the next opportunity. Unlike other championships, like if it were, it's easy for people in NASCAR in real life to just shoulder uh, the chaos and just move on to the next race because they're racing next week already. Um, but with
Which
our
is
championships,
sometimes it's not a good thing because they still carry all the animosity from just a week ago. Sometimes
well, yeah, that's true.
2 weeks is a good time to reflect and kind of bring the temperature down and say, okay, let me try again.
Pros and cons to everything. You can't win, can't lose. I mean, you can win and lose, but I mean, it's everyone's got their own idea of what works out best for them.
I was I wanted to see something. I completely forgot about it.
Oh,
It happened.
well,
What happened to you a couple times?
I think you were making some Star Wars reference.
No, it was not about that. It was about yes, that in the end, okay, each person has their own goals, but maybe some people by just finishing once in the podium, they already achieve really their goals in the series. Like I have the goal to achieve a podium, you can achieve it. If you achieve a podium, you can. Sometimes just a podium is enough to call someone's attention and get a mentor that starts working with you and involve them in their team in GTSC or whatever. So races, I mean, there are in the end 7 races with 2 races per event because a Proto Cup are 2 races. That's 14 races with each of them a podium of 3 positions, which is 6 podiums per race. So it's like a lot of chances actually to get a podium, for example, or if
And
not
I
a
think what
podium, a high position. That and that's day maybe the efforts of the previous 3 weeks. They finally you feel like they pay off in the end. That they are worth. That they have been worth because you had your moment. You have your moment of protagonism. Your moment of shine of being
mhm.
the driver that people will be talking about the next day or something. And that just need patience. You need to find the right track where everything works out and it happens. It happened. I mean, it happened last season in GP2. I mean, it happened this season. Arno got his first victory in a series ever. This season in Proto Cup, Tronguda last season got his first podium in GP2. I don't know. There are situations where you finally achieve your goal, and with that you have what you wanted to achieve. Because, for example, I'm pretty certain that the fact that Tron was capable of getting 1 or 2 podiums in the last GP2 season was motivated Luke to send him to race in GTSC with him, and last week in GT Super Endurance to get a memorable P2 that was almost a P1 in a fight that was that race was amazing. I have to say, the last GT Super Endurance race, and all that experience with Tron in GT Super Endurance last week was thanks probably to that one podium that he earned in GP2 last year. So it's maybe you only need that, just one good race, and that will open all the doors you need to be to have your moment in racing and to start to create a name and all that stuff. So you don't need to be winning championship or winning races all the time or finishing the podium all the time. You just need a good race. and that can happen anytime because in this series the level is disparity is not that big. Okay, yes, you have a few drivers that are possibly the top ones in Proto Cup, but anyone really can just finish in a podium anytime. Like Arno winning the other day, Mila doing P2 last week in Proto Cup as well. It's possible. It's possible to have your spot, and once you get your spot, everything else comes after along, basically.
I was gonna say that thing applies to Mila May, who ended up, I think, second
Yes.
one in that Proto Cup race, and that's a pretty cool achievement. It's pretty cool to see, one of the, I guess, I guess I would call them mid-pack drivers that achieve something like that, and it was pretty cool to see. And me personally, I have always put emphasis on single races, doing well in a single race, and that's what I find like joy and accomplishment about. If I can just do good in one race and prove that I was good at least that day or that race, then that gives me that sense of accomplishment. And that could be the same for, people who don't reach the podium all the time.
Naomi says in the chat, if a rookie is struggling about championship goals and feel intimidated about the ladder, let them know that GP2 I was absent for half of it and took another 4 races to get a podium, which means I didn't have a championship podium for 12 races. People that already had chances for points then could have had an easier fight against me than I had. Just keep at it. And remember that Naomi is the person that the following season joined up. This is a wrong screen. The person that the following season joined GTSC and won the championship. So yeah, you just need to be patient until you find your spot, and you will be rewarded in the end if you are really regular and involved in the category.
Naomi is certainly one of the most determined drivers I think that's out there right now. Gotta say,
Certainly.
even over Senizo and Rao and all of them who put in hundreds of thousands of laps each. Naomi goes a lot deeper than just setting really good lap times. She's very methodical about everything going on out there.
So we're gonna start talking about now, this time, about GT Super Endurance, because this, I have the feeling, I don't know, during the race, that this was one of the most memorable GT Super Endurance race we had ever, at least from what I recall, because there were so many good fights and all these position changes along the race that it was really uncertain who was going to finish where. We had LCR leading for almost the whole race, with Tron doing the most memorable defensive driving of history. We have the fight between with his and the Evergarden 93 at the very end for the last spot in the podium. The fight between the first stint with all this strong fight between the Evergarden 77 and his, that they were at some point in the race, in the first stint, was look ahead with LCR leading. Second and third was with a huge advantage Thunder and Evely, but they were fighting so hard between each other that the Evergarden 93 from Zenitho could catch up and pass them and create a gap, and later also the Renaissance Van Widermin from Rao Hakuro catch up as well and started to fight them, and for some moments they were ahead of both of them as well. So that first stint, for example, was very intense about that, and at the end, the fight between his and Evergarden 93 and the defense from Tron made the race really memorable to my eyes, which is you see now in the screen the final podium with his finishing P3, with Evely and Candy tomorrow, P2 for Luke and Tron Udal, and P1 for Thunderwave and Valky driving the Evergarden 77 as well. The championship points, Renaissance Van Widermint and Evergarden 93 are tied because they finished P4, P5 in the first race and P5, P4 in the second. So they are pretty much in the same spot at the moment. That's gonna be one of the facts to see, I guess, in the championship. I love the championship, those two cars. And yeah, that was how did you feel? How did you feel about that race? Because I really felt it different to others.
Songdo was, for me, for LCR, it was the near perfect storm. And I say near perfect because we didn't win. We were so close. But the circumstances laid out perfectly for us to at least have a chance. Just the fact that you guys, your team and Hiss were fighting so hard. If that hadn't happened, then someone would have stuck to my tail pretty much I'm sure Thunder would have been battling with me for the whole first stint at least, maybe two. I can't remember the driver order, but it just worked out in a way where I was able to position myself for Tron to focus just on his race. The only car that he had to deal with until Thunder caught up was Rao unlapping himself. So the chances of this happening again are it's possible. I think it might be possible at maybe it might be possible at Castillo, but if I'm not, we would have to have the exact same circumstances play out again, where people are fighting each other way too hard. So I'm not going to cross my fingers per se, but I'm just going to say there's a chance. I'd like to try again. It's probably the only other chance we're going to get, and that's no fault to Tron's abilities whatsoever. I mean, I'm just, without making it sound bad. Obviously, I'm quicker, but Tron is. I didn't sign him for no reason. There's a reason I signed him. I didn't just pick him because I want to give him an opportunity. No, he got a podium in GP2, and in random races, the guy he fought with Emmy for a win, and I think he's actually won a random races before, hasn't he? Or at least he's gotten really close to it. Sometimes the man can drive a car, and him being able to fight Thunder back because he mistakenly went wide in the final corner and Thunder went up the inside. I said, all right, I said, find an opportunity, like turn one, find a gap if you can. He found a gap and he made it work and he got back. It's like, yes, go for it, keep doing that. And he was able to hold her off for like another nearly 2 laps. Those two going side by side. So the whole race in general was great from my perspective. I mean, the fact I don't care that we lost. I had so much fun.
The race was really, really great to me. I really enjoyed that match. Good to you recall. You were no, of course JC was not there. True.
Yeah,
Again,
it wasn't memorable for me because I wasn't even there. But
Yeah, thanks
I
a lot
like.
for that.
but did you see
I
at
like.
least the recording or something or not?
No, I did not because I was just kind of pissed at myself. But
Shame on you.
I'll use this opportunity to extend my gratitude to Luke for keeping my car in the championship hunt. So
Yeah, you're welcome. When it comes to GT Super Series teams, I don't think. Sure, you can have drivers who are assigned to cars, but it's still an overall team effort. Number 60 is the primary car, so anytime we have not enough people showing up and we have to consolidate, number 60 always gets the priority.
So, well, it was definitely a nice race. I'm happy that also, for now, the Evergarden 77 has won the 2 races. I'm very proud of the girls. And also another news is that about GT Super Endurance is that the Seout and the Delta Wing are being retired, right? Look, in the end.
Breaking news, yes.
what?
Yeah, there have been a number of people who have come to me now. Even the drivers of the cars themselves are saying they're not really happy with the lack of perception of the hitboxes, which and I've already had talks with people about this before. I still personally don't think there's a problem with it because I I manage with them fine. I know the limits of the vehicles, but other people are struggling, so I'm going to listen to the number of people who are just voicing their concerns, and it's not going to happen immediately for all teams. I think maybe Alpinium. I've already talked with Arno about this, so we're already in the process of the same thing with him, like we are with Evergarden. But I mean, it's possible we might have both cars replaced on both teams before Castillo. But I'm currently making for the hassle. I am bringing in new models, at least for Evergarden right now. So they're going to have a new LMP chassis or a GTP chassis. It's going to be a new model that can be available to any team at any point if they want to switch cars or use it next season, whatever they want. And Alpinium might choose a new model as well. I gave them the list of options, but they also have the option to pick anything from the existing list that obviously is not the Zeod or the Delta Wing. It does suck. I really love those cars, as ugly as people think they are. And
I mean, you could not cave into pressure to remove it.
There's an extent where that can be implied, but I think here this is too big of a series to ignore it, and it was a good venture. The car, I mean, the Delta Wing raced in GT Super Endurance Season 1, and the Zeod got to roll, and it got to race last season too, and you brought it its very first ever victory at Sun
Yes,
Beach.
which I'm very proud of.
Yes, and now we have the Zeod that has won 2 races, so I can proudly say that 2 cars that I do personally love very much have won races, so I guess that's good enough. I'm okay with retiring them now. It's unfortunate that I didn't get to race in them personally. I mean, I do drive it at the Tokyo 24 Hours, but I did really want to race those in an actual race, but whatever.
What were you saying, Jesse?
No, go ahead.
I was saying that, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I took that car, because I remember when we back then raced GTSC, the undefeated championship we had, that we was deciding between the car that we used in the end and the Delta Wing. And we were with the normal shape one because it was the car that you wanted to drive for a long time before. And I had the idea that there would be GTSC again the following season and that we would go for that car. But in the end it didn't happen. So since that's happened in 2023, I had in my mind, we need to bring this car again to the grid. And that's why when I in the end started the team, that I definitely went to choose not the Delta Wing because it was existing already, and I didn't really see anyone using the Shield at all. And I said, okay, I'm gonna use this card that no one is using just to be the different person, the different guy. And I went for it because I really wanted to give the chance that it was not given back then when the Delta Wing existed. And I mean, it worked fine because we won 2 races, and with the other car we are in a tie for P4. But it's true that if the drivers don't feel comfortable and don't feel particularly happy, it's better to change, because otherwise they will. I mean, what I don't want is them having a bad race because of the car, because they hit a wall or something, because they cannot calculate the grid, and they get demotivated and they lose positions and they want to quit or something. So it's important to listen to the drivers, and yeah, in the end they prefer to have something else more comfortable, and that's how we are.
These series are not a democracy.
I mean, I know. I mean, I could have imposed the car in the end because it's my team, but it's okay. I'm fine. I don't really mind.
The model that is replacing it is going to look really good.
Yeah. I like that car. I mean, honestly, from the cars that you gave me, not gonna spoil anything. There was one car that looks particularly nice for the old style prototypes, and I was pretty sure that they were going to choose that one instead of the one that I liked, which is a bit more retro. That surprisingly, people really like that car. The one that I suggested. So
I
How
was
about we do
hoping.
we
Go ahead.
how about we do a grand reveal right here, right now?
It's not textured. Well, I mean, Asger, if you want to, I mean, you have the links. If you want to dig through it in your Discord, I guess it's up to you.
I mean, I guess I can quickly take a look and show what the model will be.
You can also reveal the chassis name if you if you want to.
It's a thing that don't even remember anymore.
Is the kind of content you'll get if you tune in every week. Burnout Hangover, exclusive reveals.
I mean, would be cool to reveal something new every time here. That's nice. Okay, I'm gonna use this one. Okay, I'm gonna use a picture. What picture I use? The one just no. This is not enough definition. I'm gonna use the original one with the livery that you sent me.
Yes.
Okay, so this is the car that is gonna be, of course, with the proper livery and stuff. But this is the car that Evergarden will be using for the remaining of the season. The chassis name is, let me know if I remember, EM925.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, I remember.
Is the manufacturer.
EM925 is the name of the chassis. It's gonna be the new Evergarden car for GT Super Endurance.
I have been hard at work the last couple of days making the template for it because it doesn't have a template. It only came with. It didn't even come with AOs, or proper shading. I've had to make all that from scratch right now, and I'm still going through the little details at the moment. I have to add all the little arrow stickers and whatnot later.
That looks pretty old school.
It's from the late 2000s and early 2010s. Oh well, this particular model is from the late 2000s. But, the 2010 and onward, they smoothed the nose out to be more pointed. It doesn't have that hole in the front. I personally I like that version of the chassis a lot better than the closed-nosed version that came after it. They didn't look so pretty in my opinion. This one looked really nice. I like it.
Wherever it says not going to be that precise about it, but someone has some soothing description about the rocket cars, the Delta Wing and the Shield, being shaped like some adult toy. Not going to describe it any further.
I will admit that no, I'm not admitting that it looks like that. I'm admitting that I'm pretty ticked off, honestly, that people keep constantly making jokes about it like that, and they keep like.
Well, to be fair, like Emily's mind is always in the gutter, so we don't.
No, I'm not attacking anyone. I'm not attacking Evely for even making that comment there. I'm just saying, over time, it's like. I'm not saying that it's a reason another reason I'm retiring the cars, but it's a bit disheartening that I introduce these cars that I think are so cool and so out there and unique. And I thought that people are going to look at this and say, "Whoa, that looks really interesting. Like, what the heck is that?" But no, people just make dick jokes all the freaking time.
Yes, grow up.
I really like the idea of painting one of these cars like an actual NASA, how it's pronounced, NASA?
NASA.
And with a NASA rocket, with this kind of panels with the screwers and all this stuff, but I guess it's not anymore, I think.
Well, it is what it is. People have their own opinions on what the thing looks like, and I can't really change their mind. So,
Yorkie says, do the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile as a replacement. What car is that?
Google it. Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. It's just a giant hot dog on wheels.
It's Oscar Wiener.
Whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it. Okay. I know what car is this. I recognize it.
So yeah, so we've looked over your new car, what's coming up, and oh yeah, it's gonna have a crossplane V8 So it's not going to sound like the coyote. So I always mistakenly try to pronounce it how it's spelled, but no, the coyote. It's gonna be low and rumbling, but it's gonna be a different tone slightly. I have not recorded the sounds yet.
Alright, also Naomi says, tell Luke he should find a Straka someday. Happy face.
And she's talking about the car. There's a car. Well, Straka is the team name, but there's a chassis out there from mid 2000s, 2015 or so, called the Straka Dome. Dome is a Japanese racing company of sorts, car company. They just collaborated with Dome, this British racing team, Straka, and they made a LMP2 chassis that I think only raced 3 times. But that team is the inspiration for why I named Straka what it is.
Alright, so let's move now to GT Super Series. We have the results of the last race here, but we also have the next race later today actually. GT Super Series, that last race at Tokyo had Valky finishing in P1, Evelyonix in P2, and Callie Finesmith completing the podium with P3 in her, I think, debut in GT Super Series for Callie.
No. Callie's raced in GTSS before. It's just her first time in this particular format.
Okay.
She didn't race at all last season.
But still, it's not that common to see Callie here, and in her return, let's say, she already scored a podium, and I feel she's gonna be definitely a contender for the for the championship for the rest of the season if she sticks to the series, of course, because it happens that Kali sometimes joins a series, but she is not that constant in the end because she doesn't attend some races. I guess realize responsibilities, of course. But let's see if she does this time, because with this result, she is in a good spot actually to fight for the championship. And now that Luke Carmona is not there, I have the feeling that everyone feels with chances to win the championship, and everyone is gonna be trying hard, and everyone is gonna try to win the race this weekend at what is Mango Kai? Correct.
Yes, Velky was saying earlier today, or last night, that she's seeing so many people practicing, and they're all setting really good times. Mango K, she said, is going to be really cool and exciting and crazy. So I don't think we're gonna have any idea who's gonna win that thing.
I don't know. I'm
I already
worried.
looked at my crystal ball, and I think it's gonna be Valky and Evely. So
I mean, we gotta remember Thunder, because I mean, Thunder did get eaten up by the pack a bit, but once she got clear of them, she was gone, and she was running lap times exactly as fast as I was last time we raced there. So unless people have improved by a good few tenths, then I don't know, I would probably lean toward Thunder personally. I'm gonna predict Thunder if we had to.
My bet is for
Choose.
Thunder as well. I think Thunder is. I believe that Thunder is the best driver of this generation at the moment. I mean, she showed up in the second race already beat Luke in GTSS last season. So yeah, Thunder is different level to me, and I feel that if she manages to find the spots, doesn't get stuck in the traffic or something, she can really be the one winning the championship this time, and possibly this race as well.
Thunder is the only person who I have. It doesn't happen every race, but it's the only driver I've ever driven against who it feels like I'm racing against myself. In that the pace is so similar and the racing lines are so similar. I think I can't remember what track it was, but I just had. I guess it was. I guess we could say Summer Nights, where I felt that. Yeah, it was definitely
Yes.
Summer Nights, where because we were duking it out the entire time, and it just I don't know. It was a bit uncanny.
So are we saying that Luke is passing the torch to Thunder? Is the Luke Carmona era over?
And maybe in GT Super Series, yeah, I don't think I'm going to compete anymore. At least.
Never say never, you know. But yeah, definitely the arrival of Thunder is. I mean, for now she is the nerfed version of herself because I think she's not really investing that much time in practice. But I believe that she really invested the time that other drivers do in practice would be impossible to beat her because she really has. I feel she has the level of Luke, or if not the level of Luke, very very close to Luke's level. Like
The traffic management still isn't quite at my level, I guess I'd say. Not trying to toot my own horn or anything.
You're
Uh,
the best, Luke. You're the best.
Thank you so much, JC. I appreciate it. Thunder can still get held up in traffic and eaten up in circumstances that she could probably avoid otherwise. Like she was getting stuck fighting with Evely for a while in at Songdo, and then um, Mango K last season. I mean, granted, yes, when you don't start in first place, you have less. Like if you're starting in second or third, you have a very good chance of being eaten up, and she did. But it's happened a lot with many races where she does start toward the front, but then gets stuck fighting people for quite a while until she can finally break away, and then she gets lost and is just gone. Um, so it's that early race, um, those early race circumstances where everything's really close and chaotic that I'm sure she's still trying to figure out.
it's gonna be definitely an interesting race because, as Emily says, Mango should be very close. I saw Zenithor, Rao, Morty doing very fast times. So with all the drivers I did not see, it will be a tough, close fight. I feel that GTSS this season is crazy competitive, but to levels that never seen before. Like I have the feeling that the first 10 drivers can all of them win a race. I have the feeling with GTSs. I think any of the first 8 drivers from last race could have finished in the podium at the very least, and I believe most of them could have finished in winning the race in the right circumstances. Like I don't know, I feel like competition in GTSs this series is the strongest ever, at least in terms of average level, of course, because I mean, if you remove drivers like JC or Luke, you are removing people that definitely are top tier drivers that would fight for championships as they won already. But the average level in general is so high at the moment in GTSS that a race winner can perfectly be knocked out in race B, for example. Like someone that in race B in one race is out, in the following race could directly win race A. It's this kind of series at the moment.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
so I'm looking at the race results from GTSS at Tokyo. I think it's probably not the first time this has happened, but it's the only time that I can recall where race B, for what were sorry, where maybe I could, I don't know, where no one. So I'm just gonna say, so from Tokyo, we had Morticia, Hina, and Milame. They advanced from race C, and then in race B, Morticia only finished in fourth. She was beaten by Yu, Senizo, and Valky, and so nobody from race C moved up into race A. Um, and the people who did, and then Valky started in last in race A and went all the way to first. So it's just usually you don't get that happen. I mean, Tokyo's Tokyo. It's a draft track, and it's kind of like the super speedway of road courses. Um, so you can't really judge too much from it, but it's still cool to see uh, the how much switching of positions there can still be amongst so many people.
Well, the interesting thing about Tokyo is that um, it kind of shows two things, that the draft is probably way too strong, and that track position is absolutely everything, even on a track like Tokyo where it's supposed to be a little bit more lenient as far as driving skills. So what I remember is Morticia was the fastest car of the event. Like she got fastest lap of everything. And but she was mired back, you know, fighting with traffic and she couldn't move ahead. So,
Well, I
um,
mean, to be fair though, with Tokyo being a drafting track, that could have been a heavily assisted fastest
yeah, and
lap.
that's again, I mean, if maybe if Morticia had qualified better, maybe she would have
Oh no, absolutely. Morticia's
yeah,
qualifying efforts can she she tends to start. I don't think she's ever just started out right in race A before, has she? She's always had to start in race B and fight her way up.
yeah.
And in this case, she had to she had to start all the way back in C, which doesn't happen often. So, um, it's funny you mention the draft being a bit too strong because I have nerfed that draft in those GTSS cars about 5 times over the course of their history. I still compared to what they were, it's really weak, and I still think it's really weak. I think it's fine. It's just that Tokyo is just
Right.
Tokyo.
Yeah, Tokyo's Tokyo. It was particular for that track, but I don't know. I think as always, as I always reiterate, track position is everything. So where you qualify definitely is gonna dictate how your race is gonna go.
Unless you're Valky.
What do you mean?
Oh, because if you remember last season at Gustosia, Zerma's Brazilian track, she went from dead last to first overall, and then here she goes. Where did she? So she started in 5th place in race B and went from last to first in race A.
Huh. But there you go.
Like the
Yeah.
But
expert in
but,
doing a last to first.
but Valky's a pro. She's a professional.
Yes.
Well, while we're on the topic of Tokyo, Astria, you want to segue slightly into that? We can
Uh,
stay on the topic of GTSS, but
because of
There's some
Tokyo, we were talking
there's some
about
comment, yeah, in the chat about Tokyo.
Tokyo is more special track, I think, so I don't think the draft is too strong, but you easily can slip through if you catch people fighting in front of you. So I think there is always a bit of luck to catch the right moment, slip through, take advantage, and zoom away, or maybe not.
says Evely,
Yes.
just to clarify, that's a chat comment.
But is Tokyo still special after the recent changes that look made to the track? Because breaking news, Tokyo has been modified and there have been significant changes that will definitely affect to the line that you ride in Tokyo. Can you tell us more about it? Look, we have a picture line right now of the biggest change to me, which is the implementation of a wall that goes basically from the pit exit to right before the first right turn of the track.
So it looks tighter than it is because you don't see all the track expanse that's off to the right of the picture. It's still a wide corner. You can still take it about as fast as you did before. The thing that we've done is because Proto Cup is now joining us for GT Super Endurance, we need space for them to pull off and pit. So the pit lane has been extended. You're not going slow for that entire expanse there. So it's not like 3/4 of the lap here in slow speed. So just around turn one, there's about almost half the straight is designated for Proto Cup, and there's no specific pit stalls or anything. It's just an area. Proto Cup can just pull off and pit their car, so that's their area. So we needed room for that, but I didn't want to have so before I actually progress further with turn two. This also means that because we needed to have a little bit of space for GTP cars to pass them and whatnot, the pit lane was also moved more toward the middle of the track. So that straight leading to turn two has gotten a bit narrower. That's partly done so that people aren't dive bombing so much into turn two, because a lot of people really like to drive really low into that corner when the proper line is to be more out toward the wall. Now moving on to turn two and turn three, that long left-hander, I didn't want to have cars being spit out into turn two like we always have, because it's always been a bit of a mess. So I extended pit exit all the way to beyond turn three and underneath the second Carmenair bridge right before turn four. So people are now going to be exiting on the left outside of the racing line, so no one's going to be shot out like a bullet into oncoming traffic. There's going to be time to merge. It's going to be a lot safer, I think. But again, turn 2, as it looks tighter than it really is. You still have some runoff and plenty of space off to the right through between turns 2 and 3. That's the extent of that particular section, but there's more. If you want to show the next picture.
Yeah, I don't have any other picture.
That's it? You didn't take any other pictures? Seriously? Because I think the biggest change outside of that was turn 4. Turn 4 isn't that sharp anymore. I have cut a lane. I've cut out an entire lane. So it's now a... so after you exit turn 3...
Azrael, you could just zoom into the track from here.
I can try. I mean, it's up or down from here?
way down.
Way down, okay. Let's do
The
the
city
magic.
levels.
Yeah. Is this one? No, it's up. It's up. I don't see
Wait,
anything.
no, the city level is the highest level on the sim.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna.
I built the sim. I should know.
Okay, I'm gonna go normal mode if you don't mind. I'm gonna change some settings to be able to.
I just want to say I'm usually not a big proponent of changing classic tracks, but yes, I love all these changes because I'm not a big fan of Tokyo anyway. So maybe it'll be better.
So after I made the changes to turns 1 and 2, I realized that, or sorry, turns 3 and 4. No, sorry, 2 and 3.
Here it is. I got it. So we have now in the camera that is change that you were talking about.
Yeah, so after I made the changes to turns 2 and 3, I was doing some testing and noticed that turn 4 felt even worse than it had before, because you're coming into it at such a more sharper and broader angle. So I decided, Emmy was there with me. She helped make a few suggestions here and there, and then also helped me test. I said, why don't we just cut a lane back like we did with the hairpin toward the end of the lap. The hairpin, obviously, I cut off about 2 or 3 lanes with that one. That's different. This one's not quite as much of a drastic cut of track space, but I wanted to make a longer corner that wasn't so dang tight and didn't allow for such dangerous dive bombs that people tend to like to do there. And it feels so nice. It feels so much better than it did both before and after the changes of turn 2 and 3. So yeah, I had a lot of fun making turn 4. And also, turn 5 after that, if you want to zoom in on turn 5 where the podium is, it's still the exact same apex. The corner has not changed other than I have closed it off.
So there's no more slow zone here.
No more slow zone. There are no slow zones anywhere on the track at any apex. So it's almost like going full circle, where the old Tokyo didn't have anything like that. It was just walls. There was no you couldn't go off track anywhere. There's no slow zones, but it's done properly. It's a proper way of doing kind of this method of just walls at the apexes and lack of slow zones. And I have done the tests. I can't say it's going to be the same for every car, but you can hit the walls at the apex and not always get ricocheted off to the side. So it's from my testing, I say it's fine. I think it's okay. It's going to be better than it was. Emmy thinks it's going to be better than it was in the past. So
what are
I'm
your
especially
thoughts,
excited
Stacey?
about turn 4.
I'm looking forward to it, honestly. I've never really been a big fan of Tokyo, so I think that second turn change and everything beyond that, yeah, I'm a fan so far.
This is all the more reason for me to hold on to Tokyo. Sorry, Callie, I can't give it up at this point.
So the Cali wanted that track for To be back to
Cali,
Races Island.
yeah, because it was originally built at Racers Island, but the thing, like, I don't want to rebuild everything I've done here over there. And Tokyo is too popular to get rid of. I'm not keeping it because it's popular. I'm keeping it because, or I want to keep it. Sorry, I want to keep it because Emmy and I have put a lot of work into that place. It would have been dead otherwise because it was killed off at Racers Island. So,
Why was it killed off?
um,
Did she kill
well,
it off?
okay. So here's the thing. Here's the history behind Tokyo, modern history. It was obviously originally built at Racers Island, but when I started racing, I think there was some race where I can't remember all the details. There was a reason why we had I had just turned this sim from Star Wars into a racing sim, and one of the races required Tokyo, but I think Tokyo was occupied for something else, or whatever reason. It was rezzed over here by Mango, so that we could use it for one of the GT Sprint Challenge rounds, I guess. Um, and we never deleted it after that. And GP1 was coming up soon, and I figured if I have, like, it's on my sim, so why don't I just start making little changes for another race that's coming up? And it wasn't GP1, I guess. I just started making little changes, and I made even more changes, and I made even more changes, and it just got to the point where our Tokyo was so much more modernly advanced than Racers Island's Tokyo, and because I build so bespoke to the and I don't put anything in resers, and it's not reser friendly because there's so many little things all over the place just to help with the quality of life improvements, that it's like, well, why erase all this work? Let's just keep it here. And I guess when Achilles took over, he figured, well, if it's over there, we'll just get rid of it at Racers Island, and I'll start building my own tracks from all these other. So,
Wow. So that was all Achilles doing.
I mean, it might not be. I don't know. I just know that it disappeared roughly around that time. It could have been. I mean, Racers Island was under a lot of change at the time, so a lot happened there. I can't remember all the details, but it's here, and I think it just needs to stay here.
I mean, yeah, at this point, sure. I know that Callie's trying to preserve that Racers Island history, but yeah, I think it's fine here. You know, I don't think
Yeah,
anybody minds other
it
than her.
gives them space to, like, they want to bring Snow Peach back. There you go. You have space instead of Tokyo. You build Snow Peach.
Exactly. Where's Snow Beach? No longer here.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, is Ice Plume supposed to replace Snow Peach or something?
No, it's just becoming increasingly commonly known that because when Candy first made the track, I pointed out that looks a lot like Snow Peach. It's by pure coincidence that it's got nearly the exact same layout and
You're
theming.
you're saying it's a coincidence?
It is. She even says it's a coincidence. She had no idea that she was building another version of Snow Peach.
I don't buy it.
It's a
I don't buy it.
subconscious coincidence, you know?
Well, she's stuck by that for a few years now, so we'll just have to deal with it as it is.
You're sus, Candy. You're sus.
And talking about nice and love tracks, we have this Sunday for the sidecars one of the favorites JC's tracks, which is Herrenhaus,
Mm-hmm.
where will you finally join and we will be able to race together, JC, or I don't count on you this time again.
Are you talking about the sidecar?
Yes,
Yes, I will absolutely be there.
I hope
I'll be
so.
like one of those what was that? Geppetto in the movie Pinocchio. I'll have like 10 alarms go off.
Good.
I haven't watched that movie in like 25 years.
Yeah, more or less the same.
Well, it's like 100 years old at this point, so
Yeah. very quick in my slight diversion back to Tokyo for a second. Emmy says the original Tokyo was the most ugly and janky track ever.
It really was. I mean, it was built in, the late 2000s, so it it definitely needed some modernization.
Yeah, it's gotten narrower, uh, primarily in the corners. But yeah, because Everly also says here, oh, the changes seem to be good so far. The track was always very wide, so people should have enough space to race side by side. Should things make pretty interesting, or should make things pretty interesting in a race without cutting. So yeah, Tokyo, looking forward to it. That's happening next month, the 2 hours. So after Castillo is
In
the
three
Tokyo
weeks.
2
In
hours.
3 weeks, yes.
It's already coming up that fast. All right, back to Herrenhaus.
So Herrenhaus is where we will have the sidecar race. That we remind that it's not a series technically, but it's still run in a regular basis every 2 Sundays at 11 a.m. and it's the series that requires you two drivers, one that drives the actual vehicle and the other one that uh, helps you with the turn with the steering by moving to one side or the other. There was a nice presentation video. Remember back then when Luke showed to us the series. And yeah, so basically you need two people to participate. Need it. It's not optional. And not three people, nor one people. Only two people allowed together.
When
And
is that? Is that next week?
no, that's
That's
this
tomorrow.
Sunday.
Oh shit.
So
Yes.
tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
God.
Damn. Okay. What time? 11?
11. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Everything on Sundays is 11, and everything on Saturdays is 12.
shouldn't we be practicing?
I mean, we can practice if you want
I
after
mean,
GTSS today.
I don't want to lose. That's my track. That's my baby.
I mean,
Herrenhausen.
after GTSS we can practice a bit if you want.
I used to
I
say
had
Herrenhausen was the best track, but it's now one of the best tracks because Candy made Racer City.
I was going to have the sidecars race at Racer City, but then because when I was originally conceiving the sidecar schedule, I was choosing all of the hardest tracks that we have on offer because I wanted to try and at least put the passenger to the test.
Hmm.
But that kind of it kind of went half and half at some point where you have, or maybe kind of a three-way split. You have some medium tracks, some hard tracks, and some fairly easier tracks like Straka, for example. Straka was I say Straka's going to be a really fun one because we're going to actually use the TT course this time. You know that bus stop in the middle of the track that we've never used before? We're finally going to
Yeah.
use that for sidecars. So that'll actually be more of a medium track, I guess, but we still do have the really long straight. But I mean, classic sidecar racing wasn't necessarily super tight and twisty tracks all the time. I just wanted to, when I initially put the schedule together, I was aiming for all the really hard tracks because that would, you know, best way to test the teamwork of two people. But
I
yeah,
think there was a season of something, I forget, that we convinced Demi to use the chicane at Moose, the one that you go, the one that's before turn one. And
was that
I think
random races?
no, it was a series for sure. It was some series that Emmy was running. Maybe she'll remember, but I think we convinced her to use it. She's like, I'm never using that thing again.
I'm pretty sure I was against it. I didn't want to. I hate that corner. It's good for bikes. It's not good for cars because the way they built the way the track is built there. It's well, maybe it was with Racers Island's old version of Moose because Cali improved the center island for that corner a bit. It wasn't quite such a game of chicken with the billboard tower in the middle. So
So that's for most, of course, but we have Herrenhaus this weekend. So this is the track we have to talk about. So
it's the beautiful track.
what are your expectations about Herrenhaus this weekend?
Well, the
Uh,
beautiful thing about Herrenhaus is that there are no alternate courses. It is what it is. So, um, I don't know how it'll do in the sidecars. It'll be interesting for sure.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, a race is only as good as the people in it, so it's going to depend on how well people manage their space around each other, because these bikes can spin each other out, as we learned in Moose. Um, but so lap one might be a bit messy, but it's going to be easier for people to spread out. I don't even know who I'm going to be racing. I mean, I might just have to pair up with Morticia again. I don't see why not, but we haven't talked about it. I haven't talked with anyone about racing at Heron House. I haven't ran any laps there, so but I want to be the passenger anyway, so it's not going to be that big of a deal if I do get out on the track. But I don't really know if there's any way to really predict who's going to win, because you don't know who's going to show up and race with depending on the pairing, because there's no registration. You can switch between whoever you want between each race, and it's just we can make really rough predictions and predict who might be paired up together, and then predict who might win amongst those pairs. But we have no idea who's going to be with who.
I mean, there are some
Besides you two.
couples that can be predicted. Like, I assume that Sam Phoenix and Cricri will go together. I assume that Zenitho and Rao
Oh
will go
yeah.
together as well. If JC shows up, JC and I will go together as well. I guess Anthony and someone from his team, Taylor or Canis. But yeah, some couples are not that easy to predict actually. But some of them can be more or less expected, because I guess there are some partners that will try to stick to the same team, let's say, for the whole season. And there are others that will be more like, like free birds that go here and there, try different partners, whatever. It's gonna be interesting, anyways, to see. We have four podiums there. This time we need to take proper pictures, because the ones I took are all ugly, and I could.
They're not that bad at all.
I would like to show them in the next podcast properly, so people can see themselves there. But from what I recall, Emmy and Valky won 2 of the races, could be, or 1 only.
No, they won multiple.
They
I
won
think it was 2.
2. Another one was won
Oh
by.
yes, yeah. Yeah, so they won the first and the third races. The second race was won by Sam and Crickery, and then Morty and I won the finale.
Exactly. It was really surprising to see Sam and Crickery winning the race, because in regular series FBA ones, they tend to be more the mid or the backpack, and they managed to win the race of the sidecast, which is not. I mean, they are not very long races, but they are long enough to be able for people to catch up, reverse grids and stuff. So it was great news for them, from who we are going to talk about in a moment as well, because big news, Alpinium have their drivers splitted in 2 structures now. Sam Phoenix and Crickery have left the Alpinium structure, and they have founded, let me check the name again, Atomic Racing Team, with them both and another driver named Ricomo.
Yeah, that's on the GT Super Endurance side with Ricomo as their third driver. But in terms of just general racing, yes, it's now Sam Phoenix, Crickery. They are, they're up by themselves.
I encourage all of you teams in SL Racing to just make huge dramatic announcements about it, because it makes
Yes,
things
of course.
fun, it just adds to the immersiveness. Like, maybe nobody gives a shit, but just do it.
Do you remember back in Season 1 GP1 when we had all those splits happening, where like Team Meow was having issues and then we were merging teams together, and I was announcing how Breezy left Hiss, or not Hiss, sorry. She left Viper, and then I think like a day later I was putting out news articles that Viper and Team Meow were merging, and there was drama because Morty and Eli left for Longfall Racing and all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, let's engage in this like silly season, major announcement, teams kind of thing. It's fun. I enjoy it. Like the whole like crude Samaritans like promo shit that I did, I was having a lot of fun. Maybe like even like one or two people cared.
I mean, everyone really loved that video. But in terms of just general journalism, the problem is I was the only one doing it. So once I stopped, it all stopped. Because no one ever really put out press releases. I mean, we've had a few every now and again,
Yeah.
but like no, there's
I
uh,
think Opinion was the last one that put out like little promos and stuff.
I guess for GT Super Endurance, sure. I mean, they just put out like their driver cards and who's running. Um, that's just kind of general kind of car reveal, team reveal stuff, which we've done uh more of than my old. Well, no, I mean, I'm trying to think back because it was a number of years ago. I stopped doing all these more lengthy kind of news and journalism kind of
Hmm.
posts. I didn't do
Yeah.
too many of those actually, but I mean they were fun. They're just time consuming, and I didn't. It's weird being in my position with all the insider knowledge and trying to be a journalist at the same time and not make it sound like I know everything going on behind the scenes.
It's also just way too much work that you're
It
already
is
doing.
it is way too much work. Taylor actually offered to Arilo actually offered to do some like way back in season 1 offered to do a bit of journalism herself, but she never did. So I mean, that's probably might be partly on me for not actually giving her access to the forum, but she never asked about it
We used to
beyond
have
offering.
that. We used to have like a racing journalist back in the day. Her name was Millennium Sands, and she used to write up articles about just the ongoings in Second Life racing. And she was like a very part-time, like kind of casual racer, but she focused a lot on writing like blogs and stuff.
Yeah.
That was
Uh,
cool.
I'm gonna take a moment to
Because we have a very interesting question in the chat. This
yes.
is to create. You have the following seconds to think about the answer while I read the question, which is by Yorkie. Avoiding specific people, how does FBA approach track selection if drivers might be prevented access to some tracks in a series due to outside situations?
Well, I can't get if we're talking about the situation I think we are. I can't get into the specifics as to why certain drivers don't have access to the sim in question. From what I understand, I can say that it's from but just again from what I understand. I hope that I'm right. That it was only for that that last weekend that it happened. I think it should be lifted after that. Uh, it's a very complicated situation, and
I
um,
think it shouldn't
I'm
be complicated. Like if like a sim wants to host a racing series and they have a driver that's, involved in it, they should have access to it, at least just for that race.
but no, that's I agree with that. It's just the circumstances that played out. It's hard to um, being as it happened so soon beforehand. It's like it's that person's sim. It's their choice if they want to keep people off of it, certain people off of it. Which okay, I can't force them to put someone on sim that they don't want on the sim at the time. However, that doesn't mean that we have to continue going back. Now, I'm not trying to imply that we're not going to return. I'm just saying if the situation is a bit hairy and I don't necessarily feel comfortable with the direction that the sim owners are managing uh, competitors that should probably should. Again, I can't really say too much because it's a bit of a complicated situation as to what happened exactly. But if I don't feel like drivers who I'm losing my train of thought a bit. you get the idea. There are possibilities and options where I may say that I don't know if I want to go back to those tracks until things have been sorted out. Um,
Well, if it has nothing to do with your series, I think if you allow, people to drive in your series and you don't have any, outstanding gripes with them or bans, like it should be the Sims, uh, agreement to say, well, yeah, this person is banned here, but if we want to host an event here, like an FEA event, we have to make that accommodation because they're not banned in your series, but we want to host a race. So they should, make that accommodation. Even though that person is banned, like, okay, just unban them for that one event and then reban them after the series is gone.
and I mean, it depends on the person too, because like for example, I'm not going to let certain people back on Sim that I've banned over here, because
No,
I mean, there's
right, but if you already banned them, then they're probably
yeah,
banned from your series anyway, right?
yeah. For me, when I ban someone, it's just permanent. It's not. I'm not changing it back anymore because I mean I've let people back in a couple of times, and that was a big mistake because every time I've ever unbanned someone, they do something to get banned again. So if you're banned from MindSim, you're banned from the FVA basically.
Right,
There's
right, exactly.
so, and in this particular situation, yeah, if you're not banned from the series in general, then no, that driver should
Right,
have
exactly.
access to race.
So
Um,
if those Sims can accommodate the series, then they shouldn't be able to host a race. That's my opinion.
that's where I was getting to. Where if the situation, like I had to speak specifically about the previous race in question because that's the situation that this is kind of all revolving around. Um, but moving forward, I mean the whole deal is that if gosh, this is difficult to try and put into words honestly. Um, hang on.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you what I believe in the meantime. I, as someone that has partial influence in choosing the races that happens in GT Super Endurance, as I'm co-hosting with Emmy, if it happened that we have to choose the calendar of 2026A and we know that some regular drivers of our series are banned from a sim, I would not choose a track in that sim.
No, that's yeah, exactly. That's basically what I was trying to get to. If I don't, because, like I said, the situation that happened was a bit complicated. It was I tried my best to talk things through. Unfortunately, didn't really manage to get the end result, but it's the sim owner's decision. It's whatever. It was just they claim. I hope I understand correctly that it was just that one weekend. If it's not, and those people are still banned from the sim, next time we have to go there, like for example sidecars, then 2026 things are you know subject to change.
And it's nothing personal against the owner of the sims, of course, but in the end, series need tracks to happen, but series are not linked to the sims themselves. I mean, except LCR because it's the very same track than the owner of the very same scene that the owner of the series. But um, yeah, like if we I mean, then we are a community of people. Besides being a racing series, whatever, we are a community. We have people that are part of the community itself. And if people from the community, drivers that we value, that we, even if they are not the top tier drivers, they are still part of the community. And we don't want that people to be out like that, like to prevent them from the possibility to race in the series. So
Yeah, because
it's
those are serious season-long implications. Like, who wants to show up and race in a championship that they know they're never going to win just because they're banned from a sim for reasons that are questionable? Um,
And
it,
it's not like the FEA is trying to say they condone the actions of somebody, what they're doing in somebody else's sim. Is that, we don't have a problem with them being in our series, and you know, volunteered your sim to host. So they should have access.
Even if it's only for the week or, in the most extreme cases, the weekend of the event.
Right.
If that can't be accommodated, then it's probably best we schedule elsewhere.
This was a thing in Race SL because Annie was getting banned left and right everywhere. And last White, he was like, "Well, I've already chosen the Sims, and they all, you know, volunteered to accommodate us. And if you can't accept Annie, then that's a problem." And people would just obviously, just cave into like, okay, fine, just for this weekend. So to
Yeah.
me, that's the standard. Like you should be able to allow the people to come race, and then you can reban them after that.
It's something important here to clarify. We're talking about situations that might be particularly personal between people, because of course someone who's a griefer, we are not gonna require someone who's a griefer to be unbanned. Actually, I would be perfectly fine from preventing a griefer to take part in the series, because if it's a non-griefer can actually grief other events and wherever. We're talking about not that kind of situations, but about that kind of personal interconnections between people. Imagine that imagine Kali or Luke are become enemies of JC because they don't share the same ideology and they insult each other, whatever, and blah. I mean, that
They're already
sounds
my
more
enemy.
like personal thing, not like that person is really problematic. If the person is problematic for real, I perfectly understand they are banned and you're not welcome here anymore. But if it's about personal reasons, which is the case, I believe in here, um, should not be enough to completely prevent a person from taking part in the series. Definitely.
Well, in that sense, like if let's say if right they unban the person for that weekend and they continue to grief, they're there under the capacity of the FEA. So the FEA can say, well, you're acting, like a dick. So under the capacity of our appearance here, you're banned from this weekend and maybe from the series. So it's to me it's kind of like it's pretty easy to just do it for that weekend and then
And
leave
it,
the FBA in charge of that.
yeah, and if that person who is temporarily unbanned does cause serious issues,
Right.
then obviously the sim can take action, but also the series should also take action because we entrusted this driver to behave
Hmm.
and they failed to do so. So if they fail to do that, then the FAA would have to stand in and say, hey, you screwed up. You made us look bad. So we're going to take action against you. Deal with the
And, that,
consequences of it.
and that's already in the rules, right? Like FEA, you have to show some kind of decorum when you're at the race. So
I think that's at least shown in GTSE and GT or GP1 rule books, where we have our kind of code of conduct kind of stuff. I don't remember what the section's called exactly. Sportsmanship, I guess.
hmm
I don't know if there's anything super specific toward it, but I mean, this kind of stuff should go without being said.
yeah, it's just common sense. Like you don't have to write it down. Just common sense. Don't be a dick. It's that
Uh-huh.
simple.
Naomi says, I have a suggestion to consider on this topic, but it might not suit all conditions, especially as it was short notice. Where appropriate, a track could be moved further down in the schedule to give the FVA time to resolve the matter or change the track selection as necessary. And
No,
also,
now you're
Amy
just accommodating one person. Like no, that shouldn't be it. That's not an answer, in my opinion.
Also, Amy says, talking about what happened to me, I treated it like an inner team dispute to work out themselves. If someone was banned that was not part of their team, it could be handled differently.
Yeah, I think personally we might have talked about as much as we should about that. Otherwise, we're going to have to start getting into more details that don't need to get out there.
Yeah, in the end, it's a matter it's a matter that needs to be talked about more privately with the sim owners, of course, because it's not desirable that two drivers, regular drivers of our series, are prevented from taking part in any event that takes place there and affects their chances for uh, championships and stuff.
Yeah, and I think in the history of the FBA, this might be the first instance of this particular situation we've had to deal with. Any other time I've had to deal with banned drivers, it's just because they were being stupid, and they're very toxic personalities, and they shouldn't be around the masses because they're just breaking down the entire experience for everybody, and that's a completely different set of circumstances.
I have no clue who you guys are talking about, but I'm just gonna ask this: is it me?
No, no.
What? No, we're not.
Okay,
No,
good guy.
well, I guess those that have been here enough time know what, particularly two personalities, three personalities are we talking about? Because there are three personalities that have been like forever and ever banned and never again and all that. Uh, but yeah, that's a story for another podcast, I guess, because it's long story and yeah, a lot to talk about. On the good note, we're gonna talk about a different thing, which is Apex Angels is the new structure that Atsilun has founded. I believe she was the founder of the team with her colleagues Kelly Neox and Sarah Silver. It's a new team that plans for now to take part as an official team in both GT Super Series and Proto Cup, and who knows, maybe if GT Super Endurance in the future. You can see now in the picture, in the screen, a picture of their pit box, how they decorated and everything. Really, really nice work they made in here. Also nice themed for the team, and I'm really interested in seeing this new structure, how it evolves in the next months, because um, actually it was Atsi that scored quite a decent result in both Proto Cup races. I think she got P10 and P11, so she actually scored points in her first race. Sarah Silver didn't have the chance to see her racing yet, but also Kaelia Neox was taking part in that Proto Cup race, and I'm really excited about this team to see how it goes in the future.
I think that there actually might be three people on the team. Well, there are three people on the team, but only two of them drive, but which would be Etsy and I forget the name of the other person. But there's a third individual who I think actually might be the head of the organization. They're just kind of around. I ran into them last night at Mango, or maybe it was 2 nights ago. Yeah, definitely 2 nights ago. But yeah, they are one of the most enthusiastic teams to have shown up out of nowhere, which is really cool to see. It's they're not in GTSC yet. They have asked about GTSC. No idea if they have any intent to try it out this season or not, but we do have the space for it. At least one more spot. If they were to join, then we would be capped at 8 teams. At least for the regular season, because Tokyo 2 Hours can allow up to 10. But it's just the level of enthusiasm and involvement, and it reminds me of how I was when I showed up to Racers Island, or at least in that period, like late 2019, because I really wanted to have this kind of immersive kind of team kind of experience where, like, with myself and Emmy and our old friend Minx, who only very rarely shows up in SL now, which is sad, but we miss her a lot. The three of us would we had our own team, and I would put up trailers at the track. I was the only person who was doing that, and having racing by designated teams are trying to have a presence of a team in places that didn't necessarily need it. because back then we just did simple oval races, like similar to SRL in the sense where you just show up and race for like 75 laps and that's it. But I wanted to have something big and immersive, and these guys are doing exactly that without being prompted, without the need for it. They're just that enthused, and it's infectious, really.
Hmm. Yeah. It's cool to see people still very enthused about racing. And I think it adds a level of more immersiveness and competition. And it's just all good stuff all around.
Me says it's Donovan and Valky's car because guess what? Their numbers are 07 and 77. So yeah, there are now 3 cars on the grid that are 77, and someone has finally, for the first time that I have seen in our neck of the woods of racing, used the 07 aside from Donovan. But
There's,
Donovan doesn't really race that much except for the Carminer 500 right now and SRL races. So 07 isn't really used in the FBA as far as I know.
there's this a conspiracy theory that that's Donovan's alt.
Here we go again.
Oh no, the Alts story again.
Well, we have to entertain things.
Every single time some new person comes in, either it's implied or joked about that it's like, who is this person? It can't seriously be a new guy. It's like it's as though new people just don't exist, as though SL racing is just a small group of people and it'll only ever be that.
Yes, nothing ever new happens.
So it's very nice to see new people showing up in this enthusiastic. We of course will support their progress in the series. I already talked to Atsi because she asked me about the GTSS race from later today. Also tell her that she can poke me anytime for any question, and of course they are very welcome to our little environment of racing. We are glad to see them so much involved, and I like to think that their enthusiasm can affect other people as well, and we can start to see this kind of work on the grid more regularly, like on this involvement, all this work that they put in the details, the paddock.
Yeah.
One of the things I enjoyed the most about FBA indeed is this roleplay thing of imagine you are actually there, you are the actual, not the real Max Verstappen, of course, but that you are in that situation. You are the star, you are the driver. The press is around you. People talk about you. You have the dramas in track. You have the races. I like to do all that environment that the real race can be kind of replicated in Second Life thanks to the social factor of it, and this kind of contributions in this case from Apex Angels. It's super welcome because it fits this feeling of being inside something.
Yeah, I will say it's unfortunate we're not going to be able to see their pit build in action tomorrow, but it's for good reason. The sim owners and managers of Racers Island said that they don't want to open the can of worms of allowing teams to deck out their pit boxes because the complexity of what some people might try and bring in, and who knows how many
I mean,
scripts, if any, it might have, or
at least give them like the walls, like the painting on the walls and stuff.
well, I
Like,
mean, if it were nothing more like, so you know how I would decorate pit boxes for GP1 and all that, or sorry, the garages. I would just like use a simple banner and maybe color the walls. I suppose if they only had done that, then they probably could have gotten away with it. But it's such a big and complex build. I don't know how much land impact it is. It's extremely beautiful, but I can definitely understand how if one person does it, that might encourage other teams to start decking out their garages if they had the space to do so. It could eat up all the land impact, which I would get concerned with that on my sim because I'm only at what 2,500 right now, and the cars themselves can be pretty expensive. So, and then there's of course the complexity. People can probably lag out looking at it, and they don't want to sit there all day de-resing everything. So,
I think they should. I think they should get. I think every pit stalls should get like a limited amount of like prim flare, like maybe 4 prims of flare, so you can, paint the walls with I don't know, art for your team. That would be cool. I mean, it's three prims per stall. Maybe that would
It,
be a good
I'm sure that could
compromise.
be fine if people wanted to try that. I know in GTSC I'm kind of speaking a slight bit hypocritically in the sense that GTSC allows teams to currently use or build their own pit assets both in the garage and out on in their pit box. And there's no restrictions on that right now. But if it were to get out of hand, then I would start to implement restrictions. But so far, that's not been the case. I know that Anthony Stewart, he has built, I haven't looked at it yet because he passed me a copy of it, but he's built supposedly a very extravagant pit asset build for his team for Tokyo. It's only supposed to be like 67 land impact or something like that. Not that much in the grand scheme of things. But if it were to go, if it got out of hand, then yeah, we'd have to start placing restrictions. If we had builds of Apex's quality for all teams, or for a whole bunch of people trying to fill up the garages, then yeah, that would be probably be an issue, maybe.
We see some comments heavily. Second Life Racing is still a pretty niche, or I don't know how to pronounce it. And a lot of people are kind of stuck in their routine. They don't notice what is going outside their bubble. So at times I do meet people who are quite surprised that racing exists. And then Gasakus Daisuke, it says, Second Life is a good place for different sports systems. The bigger the communities and people involved, the better, because you have a place to break down the routine, as said in the previous commentary from Emily. So yes, definitely it's a bit of our own thing, Second Life Racing. Not that many people knows about it, but uh, I could say that from all the simulator thingies that can exist in Second Life, because there are simulators of any other environments, like simulators of farms, simulators of, I don't know, uh, different systems, things that happen in real life that you can do in Second Life as well. Racing one, at least the one that we have, I not that knowledge about other environments. The one we have is quite uh, similar to real life, or at least tries to be tries to be serious, that somehow insert as much as it's possible tries to replicate what happens in real life. So you can be involved, it can be immersive, and that's really really nice in the end to
I think
experience.
a thing with racing is that it's like a lot of other sports in that you get a lot of people who would be interested in watching it, but they don't want to take part in it. And the promotion, and I mean this is improving as this last year has gone on, but the social media presence and presentation and promotion of this kind of thing hasn't always been strong enough and easy enough for people to keep up with. So what we're doing is we're trying to live out the life of a spectator sport that doesn't really have any spectators, and the people who would be interested in racing can't really watch that easily up until recently, because we're starting to push out a lot more content. Um, the type of people who don't want to actually drive. So it feels like a niche series or a niche neck of Second Life when it probably doesn't have to be. It just is by the nature of lack of exposure. Because I think like it's Race SL way back when Second Life was really small at the time, but it was also it was the Wild West and everyone was interested. So and Race SL got these big name real life companies involved. So when you get that kind of promotion, Race SL got big because of that exposure. We are just kind of we don't have any of those big name things. It's all being done on our own. So to be as big as we are right now without that kind of assistance, um, I mean, I'll be honest. There are times this might be the first time a lot of people are hearing this, but I have had many events in the past where I intentionally try not to promote it because I don't want that many people showing up. I have not wanted to deal with so many people at the same time. So like in GP1, people tell me, why don't you like advertise the race or sell tickets, get more people coming in? It's like, no, I tell them, I don't tell them this, but I say in my head, no, I do not want that many people on the sim. So I'm gonna try and just kind of stick out. Like I'll nod my head and I'll just move on.
I mean, they could also do their own thing, and whoever thinks they can do things better, then they should give it a go, you know? If they think that there's more potential this SL racing thing, then they should try to do their own thing. But um,
I don't think, well, we weren't really talking about anyone complaining about the lack of exposure. I'm just saying, uh, I mean, obviously, yes, people think they can, if they have an idea, then they have all the freedom and will to
yeah, I
pursue
feel like
that.
you want to have a cap on things that you can handle on your own, which is fair. Um, but as far as I think SL racing goes, this is like the FA is the most organized and the one that seems to want to have actual rules and try to be consistent. But uh,
That cap you mentioned is rising, though, considering that there's more, like, I'm getting more help as time goes on with not just because back then I was the only one doing everything. Aside from Emmy, obviously helping with hosting. That's so helpful. But I'm talking with like media promotion and all that kind of stuff. I was the only one doing any of that. Um, so it that's changed a lot now. I feel like all this kind of stuff that I felt like I should be worrying about but didn't want to worry about is now being handled by other people. And I can get involved like I am right now, but I don't have to be the one in charge of it all, which is really nice. I can focus on stuff and still be able to know that word is getting out there.
right, I mean, you kind of set a footprint and you have the potential to expand it further, but you obviously have to find people that you can trust that are gonna carry kind of the mission of the FEA, so to speak. It can be, I guess, limitless, but it's all about who's who's gonna be, reliable to do that, to carry the mission.
Yeah, because all of this is just voluntary. No one's getting paid to do anything.
Right.
So you have to really have the passion for it.
That's the key. You have to have passion for it.
You need to want to do it exactly.
Yes.
Like this, like I'm sure this podcast wouldn't even exist if Azrael didn't have the passion for it. And obviously, I think all of us three have passion, for SL racing. And yeah, that's how you make things expand, get bigger, more
It,
popular.
and if Asdra hadn't started doing these streams at all, I never would have been nearly this. Like, I still would have been the person that a lot of people never heard the voice of, and the person who only ever turns his voice on once every 6 months or so. So
Yeah.
Yeah, we are
Yeah,
it's
like
suddenly
it,
just invoicing a weekly basis when before it was. The thing is that it was very rare to hear people's voices. Yeah, I mean, unless they were in your very same team, you could barely hear the voice of anyone in Second Life Racing. This has changed in the last months with the stream because now we have Luke and I every week, JC also every 1 or 2 weeks, showing up and talking as well. We have during the Tokyo 24 we have San Katias, we have Clifford McTittis, we had some other people. So it's also another way to communicate, to connect with people as well.
Yeah, I will say though, I'm still happy with the fact that everyone shuts up when the races happen, because we don't really need voices going on at that point. We need everyone silent, focused, and listening. Uh, there's no chance in hell I'm ever going to use voice for a pre-race meeting, because not everyone has voice enabled. They can't get it to work to at the very least hear me, and it's a lot easier to convey a message over text because not everyone even speaks English. And Arno, for example, he can't understand what I'm saying. He doesn't understand my accent at all. It's really difficult for us to speak in person, so we have to do it over text. And if people can't, so people can copy paste and translate if they need to, it's just 100 times more efficient to do it via shouting at everyone over text than it is to speak. So, and it's okay for, like, you got SRL and what's the other place? The Racer's Edge. They all do their meetings in. Well, sorry, no, not SRL. They do have people who speak in SRL over there, but in the Racer's Edge, they have everyone over there speaking in voice, and they do their race meetings in voice chat. That works for them, but for our scale, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think
But it's good to it's good to have the voice outside of that, around it, and like during the streams and in stuff like this.
yeah, I guess SRL goes differently because I mean maybe I'm wrong, but I believe that almost everyone there are U.S. citizens, so they all speak English fluently. But our series are more with the goal to involve people from, especially Europe, because it's the times when this race take place are considering the European people, and of course in Europe you have plenty of languages as well. I mean, you also have the Latin American people who are Spanish speakers or Portuguese if they are from Brazil, like Nikuri. So, yeah, in that sense, the written way, writing is the way to go
Yeah.
for our case.
Yeah. As Yorkie mentions, though, since Second Life is moving away from what is it?
Vivox.
Vivox. Vivox is that? Oh, Vivox, Vivox, whatever. So we're going toward RIP RTC. Yeah, I think so. She's saying that some of the newer versions don't even have Vivox anymore. So we're all transitioning into RIP RTC, which is going to make it a lot easier for people to be able to connect vocally. But I'm still in preference, though, of, at least for meetings, text only, because
Yes.
it's just the easiest way to convey a message.
And that's probably why Evely won't talk to us because you sound way too American.
What?
Like we
She
or
she
she?
she does she doesn't understand your American accent.
She doesn't?
Yes, that's what we're going with.
Like
Okay, yeah, alright.
okay, maybe she can understand my English that is not that American.
You're talking about Arno like he doesn't understand your accent. It's like pretty
He
plain
he
cut
does
English.
he, well, but you've heard how he speaks, though, yeah?
I mean, he's French, right?
Yes, he's very French, and he's still very uh saying it kindly, he's still quite bad at English. He's still trying to
Right, but
figure it out.
he's learned English from, English sounding English.
Yeah,
So,
so
British.
my I mean, I guess so. But
oh man,
because the only time that we were in a voice channel, I don't know if you were there, I was trying to ask him a question, and he was like, no, I do not understand what you're saying, Luke, I'm sorry. So,
Yeah, because Arno understands me, but he doesn't understand Luke. That's the thing. So I have to be the one speaking to him in English in order to understand what's going on. Because if Luke is the one speaking, he will not understand properly.
hmm.
yeah, and people say Americans don't have accents.
Talking about Americans, historic Anthony Stewart is the last topic of the day because he is. This is a bit late news, but we didn't have the podcast before. But I still believe it's worth to mention that Anthony Stewart is back to action after many years disappeared from the early days of Second Life Racing with Stewart Motorsports, the new team that is taking part in Proto Cup, not as official because there are no teams there. Also GTSS, and will are planning to take part of Tokyo, the 2 hours of Tokyo, with I know what drivers exactly, but the structure at the moment has himself, has Canis Rufus, who's actively driving in Proto Cup, and two old and known drivers as well from the grid, especially Taylor Aeralo, who has been part of GP1 series and GTSC several seasons in the past, as well as Wheeler Longfall, more known, I guess, in SRL, but he who also has the Longfall structure in GP1, with which his team won one championship.
In GP1 season 2, I think it was, because
Yes.
it was Eli and Kira who were racing at that point. They could have potentially taken the championship, the team's championship, in season 1, but they started after. I think their first race was round 3, so
Wait,
not
what?
enough time. Yeah, remember what Longfall started in like 3 races in, and he
No.
dragged.
I
Yeah.
thought I thought LFR started with Eli and Morticia.
Yes, in season 1, but that was like 3 races into the season when they started.
There's
Because
no way because
yeah,
I had to beat Eli.
yeah, Eli was racing with Morticia at Team Meow.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right. You're right. Okay.
So yeah, they got a bit of a late start.
Right. They
To
they did a whole mutiny against Cali.
Yes, which
And
is where earlier the journalism thing I was talking about, I was covering all that stuff at the time. So the drama that you wanted, that you want us to try and talk about now with these kinds of big announcements, I was covering all that back then.
just
What
an
were you?
absolute betrayal by
It,
Morticia and Eli.
and they have not really recovered since.
No?
No,
Let's call it the what was their team name? Meow?
Team
Team Meow?
Meow.
Let's call it the Team Meow curse. That's why
Yeah,
Morticia.
they were a tight knit bunch. At least Eli and Callie especially, because they were like they were uh, in GT. What was it? They were going to race together in second in the SL Endurance Championship before that was going to become a thing. They were together as was it GT Sprint Challenge
Well,
before.
it's because Callie and Eli were very close lovers at the time, and they had a huge
I
fallout. Yes,
didn't know that.
yes.
Uh,
So then Team Meow fell apart, and Morticia, obviously being loyal to Eli, they went to LFR, and they got paid cash money,
uh, a lot.
The
a
good
lot of
times when you were
just
paid for racing.
egregious money.
Yeah, so the Stewart Motorsports, it'll be Anthony, Taylor, and Biller in the GTP at Tokyo. Candice is going to stay in the Proto Cup. Um, so yeah, this is they're just getting their feet wet, really. He does have intentions to go full time with his team in GTSC 2026, so I've been told.
That's good, that's good. And if there's GP1, I guess they will also join the
Yeah,
series.
GP1 too, I'm sure. Yeah, he wants to get his team involved in Faith's F1 series that she's starting up over at Lightning Legends. Probably it could be like a, I don't know, it might be good practice for them for GP1.
Should we talk about GP1?
We can. There's not going to be much to talk about though.
When is GP1 being back?
No idea.
We have to talk about this. We all want GP1 to be back.
I know everyone wants GP1 to come back, but I have no idea when it's coming back.
Amy just confirmed there will not be GTSC in 2026 because GP1 is coming back. Breaking news from Amy Blueberry. Okay, let's talk serious. What are at the moment the blockers that prevent GP1 to being back?
The car.
Okay, what's wrong with the car?
Everything.
Oh god.
told you, this is not going to be a lot to talk about. It's just that I don't have any clear direction I want to go with the car right now. Except for I want it to be simpler than it was. I just don't know how to go about it because I do have to basically start from scratch. I don't necessarily want to take the exact same platform I've been using since GP1 started. It's literally been the exact same platform this entire time. It's just been built off of as the years go by. I want to try and make something not new because I don't want it to be totally unfamiliar, but I definitely want something that feels different.
I mean, could be a simple version of the GP1 could be like no push gear, just the normal race one, and
That's part of it. I don't want to have any of that fancy uh, engine management kind of stuff going on anymore. I don't.
and just the three
I don't.
tires, the soft, mediums, and hard, like they were
Yeah,
before.
there will be tire compounds. I do want to keep that kind of stuff.
And that's
Um,
enough. There's no need of more really. Just a car simple like that. The GP2 would be the same without the tires and without
because
the.
one of the biggest complaints I think in the latter seasons of GP1 was it was getting so complicated that you had to practice and practice and practice and practice, and then that circles back to the discussion we had earlier about, or what someone mentioned earlier, in that yeah, people are practicing all these hours and then their race is destroyed and then they feel so discouraged and they don't want to come back because it feels like a complete waste of time. The idea, because GP1 is already so big and people take it so damn seriously to almost a fault, is that I kind of want to cut back on how much time people need to invest so that it doesn't feel like such a waste of time if they do have a bad weekend.
Mm, okay.
Don't bring it back. Don't bring it back.
How not? We're talking about bringing it back. Why did you change your opinion?
Because I already won it. So just don't bring it back.
Yes, but I didn't want it, and it's literally the
Yeah,
only
that
big championship I'm missing, and I need the series to run. Otherwise, I cannot fight for it.
my theory is that I destroyed everybody so badly at Racer City that GP1 hasn't recovered.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Amy
But
says.
I think what?
Yes, go ahead, go ahead.
No, go. What did you say?
Amy said, "Don't make it simple. Stop making everything simple. Everything simple. People will run 1,000 of laps no matter what you do to the car." And also,
No,
That's
Evelyn
I
says,
hang on, hang on. I'm gonna talk about what Emmy's saying here for a second. I know why she's saying that because GTSE got simplified and the fact that I got rid of the hybrid system. But GP1, it literally is far too complicated with the trying to manage the engine temperatures and shifting all the time during the races, which pulls your focus from the driving and traffic management, and on top of that, trying to figure out exactly how much to push because it affects the tire wear and the fuel use and all that kind of stuff. It's just, we don't need that to be that deep,
Why not?
really.
I mean,
Why
I have
not?
to say that GTSC.
Because because it stresses people out, and because it stresses people out, it stresses me out. And when I'm stressed out, I don't want to host it. That's why it stopped, partly.
I
What if I
believe
host it?
that GTSC is the kind of series that can have that because there are not that many cars on the grid. But maybe GP1 is not that kind of series for that because there are a lot of more people. So I guess the amount of cars is relevant because if there are not that many cars, the traffic management of course is important, but it's not critical as it is in GP1 where the cars are more cars, faster cars, lot of more grid, and in general it's more dangerous to have a collision in there. So I think
Yeah,
it's different. I think it's different.
yeah, yeah. Hey, JC, the reason why I wouldn't want you to host outside of maybe substituting is because you can't even show up to a race sometimes. You'll just sleep in, and you won't even be there.
True,
So
that's true.
I don't want to be your backup.
I'm gonna be Geppetto. I'm gonna set 10 alarms. Trust me.
Yeah, not a good time to test that theory. We'll see how your attendance does over the rest of the year here. Emmy says, real quick, just to see the complexity she thinks made it fun. I think people might be getting the wrong impression here. I'm not trying to make it like GT Super Series where you just show up and get in the car and drive. No, it's gonna like think back to, I don't know, season 2 and 3 where we had all those tire options and you still had to practice a fair bit, but you had less factors to focus on. You could just focus on the tire wear and those kinds of strategies. Though a lot of people actually, there are a number of people who really like that. They prefer that over what they were dealing with the last season. And I'm not saying that I'm listening to them and that's why I'm doing it. I'm just saying that there are people who enjoy how it used to be. It's still a time investment. It's just not as tedious of a time investment. It doesn't feel as strenuous. It doesn't feel like you have to. There's so many little things that you have to focus on, or else you could completely screw up your entire race weekend. It's just there's still going to be a lot of involvement required. That's not going away.
Emily was saying before, I think GP1 needs tire wear and it needs some way where strategy could have an impact, which I feel it's pretty hard to develop.
Yeah, which I just touched on. So
I think that season 6 was in that sense the best season, because I remember that in that season half of the races you could do the hard tire strategy, and the other half of the races the soft tire strategy was faster. So that season was very nice in that sense, because in terms of strategy it was really balanced, something that didn't happen later in season 7, when season 7 I think only the hard tire strategy was the good one.
It's really hard to develop tires and yeah, it's sometimes
Look,
go ahead.
the best season was season 3 because it was probably the hardest. You had like what 9 different tire elements, and then you had the whole push thing. So it was like the hardest, and everybody still showed up. Everybody still practices much, and
Candy says
I
those
think
cars are her favorite.
yeah, and the drama was just the same as season 3 as it was, any other season. So what is the real difference? Like people are basically saying, yeah, just bring a harder car and yeah, just bring it back.
Hashtag GP1 back in Twitter, or now called X, if you want GP1 to be back.
It'd be better
I
just
think
to just promote print feed. I hate X.
I think Luke just doesn't want to deal with all the bullshit, but like I've told him before, he just needs to put his foot down on some things and his life will be easier.
Easier said than done.
It has to be easy.
But if only it were that simple. If
It
only it
is.
were that easy to make things easy.
You gotta do it the less white way.
That didn't last very long though.
Of course it did. We had to drag that man to give us seasons to race in. Not because of the drama, but because he was just, a dick sometimes.
I don't know. What else are people saying, Astor? I see no comments.
Naomi said, well, Emily said that I am with Emmy. GP1 should be the very edge of skilled driving, then should not be easy.
Okay, hold on. I'm not trying to make it easy in that sense. I'm just trying to make it less stressful. That's the point. Not easier it's not less stress. That's the point. I may have said easier. I didn't mean easier. I meant less stressful.
Naomi,
That's the irony. It's like the more features you took out, it still became stressful. So
I don't. What? Wait, hold on. Say that again.
But GP1 is stressful because it's the series. Like,
Mhm.
you have.
No, I know that GP1 is inherently stressful. I'm just trying to make it less stressful on people so that I'm being a bit selfish here, so that because I'm trying to say I'm making it less stressful on certain people, or hopefully all people, so that they stop stressing me the hell out. I need to be able to manage this thing properly. If I can't do that, then there is no GP1.
Okay, I got an idea. What if you put JC as the steward, so every complaint goes to him, and since he doesn't give a fuck,
Yes.
there's no stress that the coordinators need to handle.
I will be the complaint department.
Exactly.
Okay, well, again, we're gonna have to review your attendance record over the rest of the year before that's considered.
No, he doesn't need to attend the races. He only needs to take the complaints. Like, send at
Dude,
the
but
end.
he's not there. He can't be judgment of these things if he's not even there to see what happened.
He
I
can
watch
just
as dress stream.
exactly. He just watch my stream and that's it.
Assuming you see everything.
I mean, I'll fast forward through it, you know.
Oh yeah, that's so efficient.
Look, this is to prove my point. You could make the next GP1 car a bunch of LT3s, and people will still complain, and you'll still be stressed. So if you want GP1 to come back, just accept that it's gonna come with all the gripes. If you don't want the gripes, then just cancel GP1 forever.
Someone says I'm missing the joke. I'm not missing the joke. I sound like I'm not. I don't get it. I'm still learning how to speak, public speaking stuff. So what I convey doesn't always come across correctly.
I like Amy saying, "Who are these people? We need names."
I'm also trying to play into the joke a bit.
Pointing out.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Yeah, I don't need to specify.
I mean,
anymore
I
because
guess
it's
we
kind of
are.
a
I
big
mean,
collective.
if you were a regular GP1 attendee, you should know who are the kind of people that complain.
Yeah, for the most part, yes.
So now Luke has a whole new group of people to deal with, you know, a bunch
yeah.
of new personalities.
Yeah, no, speaking seriously though, having the extra help will definitely contribute a lot to being able to maintain some of the
The thing
Okay,
is, obviously, I can't
words.
commit to things because I've won like I think every FEA championship at this point, so I can commit to a point if like it really matters to me. So that's my evidence of showing like I can actually, you know, show up.
okay, this is my
Right.
compromise. If I am able to win the championship, I retire from GP1 and I help you handling the series. But for that, you need to run at least one season without me and counting with me winning the series, which may or may not happen. It's
As
a risk,
drivers.
but it is what I offer.
I'm sorry. You're gonna have to repeat yourself because I was reading a comment. I'm sorry.
I'm saying that I acquire the compromise that if GP1 is wrong and I win the championship, I retire from GP1 and I help you running the series.
I mean, I'm not against it.
But that means at least running GP1 without me one season and or potentially without any secondary people helping, and the possibility of me not winning the championship, of course. But it's at least the chance that I could potentially at some point help you with it, and that would probably help in the future seasons with handling that. The thing is, I need the series back. That series needs to be back. It's the series. The thing is the series. You cannot just, you know.
I know, but I want if when it's coming back, I want it to come back properly. I'm not just gonna half-ass it like I kind of did in season 7. Because here's the thing: when GP1 first started, it took me 4 months of development before the first race. 4 whole months, or with the car and gathering people up, making sure everyone was in the know and knew what to expect. 4 whole months to figure that out. And then, before race 1 even happened, I was already working on season 2's car. And then for season 3, I was already working on that car right after the season 2's first race. And then I was always working on the next season well in advance. Season 6, that was starting to fall behind. And then season 7, I think there was only like maybe a month or two before that kicked in before I finally had the car ready to go. And I was still unsure about the car as round 1 came up, which is not how it's supposed to be, and it caused issues as the season went on. So I need to be able to feel confident in my build, in my product, before it gets put out into the public. And right now, I don't have that. And I'm not anywhere near that.
What
So
are your
it's
thoughts,
not
JC?
coming. 2026A, not happening at this point. It's too soon.
I mean, you have 4 months. We can start this thing in February.
No.
Do it for the kids.
We are the kids. In this case, us ground kids, but
No,
still.
no, that's against terms of service. Shh, no.
Oh my gosh.
It will come back. I will say it here, and I will promise it will come back, but I do not know when. So, please be patient, people. Thank you.
Let's pray for the best. Well, Naomi says, put it this way, if you don't bring GP1 back, then you should ditch the GP1 Discord role and replace it with GTSC drivers. Avoid work, get GP1 ready. What can take more time, develop GP1 or switching the GP1 role in Discord to GTSC driver?
I need to just get rid of that entirely. That was already annoying enough to keep up with in GP1. The turnover rate was so high. People just kept changing drivers and teams all the time.
Just give me permissions and I can update that.
No, I don't think really.
He doesn't trust me, guys.
No, it's
You heard it here. He does not trust Israel.
yeah.
I think Amy could also have that permission, actually.
I don't think Emmy wants to deal with that.
Amy, are you willing to do the extremely harsh and painful work of updating Discord roles to people who are GTSC drivers? As responsible as she is responsible, actually, because she is the GTC coordinator, would be part of her work in theory.
She may not even be listening anymore because I saw her log off SL a little bit ago.
She went no. Amy says no. She's not willing
Not
to.
this.
Okay.
I told you. I know Emmy.
A very assertive no.
Yes, with a period. You know it's serious when there's a period.
All right. So, well, I guess that's pretty much the topics from today. Is there anything we forgot to talk about relevant enough?
Hold a Q&A session real quick. We can go to 3 o'clock.
Oh yeah, you have 20 minutes.
People actually ask questions.
I don't
If
know.
they want to.
Anyone has any question that we want us to talk about?
We've had one actual topic question earlier from Yorkie about the FVA handling bans and SIM access and stuff like that. So that's an example of a question.
Yes.
In
Interesting
the future,
topic indeed.
in the future, it would be good to have, because I already talked to you, Adri, about this, just to have like an actual form, like a Google form that people could fill out, because not everyone's going to be here live to listen. So if they want to ask a question and then listen in later to see if it was answered, then they can do that.
I wanted to do that, but I forgot, honestly, or I was too lazy. I don't know. But yes, I will prepare something like that for the next podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But no questions so far.
Well, maybe because they are on like a 20 to 30-second delay, because so they hear the prompt to ask a question, and then they have to think of a question, and then they have to type out the question. So I don't know, they could be They could be doing it. We don't know yet.
Or just send a $20 super chat and we'll answer it right away.
Do we get a cut of that, Asdria?
Okay, Naomi has a question now. Are there changes to the Tokyo for the multi-class race permanent or temporary for the event?
Permanent. When I make a change to a track like that, I don't change it back. These are quality of life improvements for the most part.
Wow, really? That's permanent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amy asks.
I mean,
What?
sorry, real quick, because despite the fact that yes, I did extend pit lane for Proto Cup to have some space for it, that extension to the pit exit so that you exit at a later corner and out of the way of the racing line, I already wanted to do that before Proto Cup. So that's basically, I'm using Proto Cup as an excuse to make these changes.
So definitely the quite common situation of people exiting pit, colliding against people that's coming from the first turn will not happen again in theory. And then Amy asked, who are your top 3 podium picks for GTSS tomorrow? My top is Thunder, Evely Valky, or Thunder, Valky, Evely, or something like this.
I'd say Thunder, Valky, Evely. But it's really tight between Evely and Valky, like really tight. I don't know. It could be either one of those two. But I really do think Thunder. If Thunder gets into clear, they're probably going to be gone.
Yeah. Probably.
And for you, JC, what's your top 3 for tomorrow?
I mean, as far as winners, I don't I can't predict who are gonna be a few podiums, but my picks are Valky and Evely. Both winners tomorrow.
Both of them. Oh.
And if they don't win, I'll just remove them and block them.
Jeez.
High responsibility for them.
Pressure's on. Touching on Yorkie's comments, from the testing I've done, it still feels like standard Tokyo turn 2 and 3. They've just been smoothed out a bit, and they happen later. Yeah, it's the same arc. It's just been pushed out a bit, and the corner's not as jagged. It's not a sharp bend on either end, and there's no slow zone, so it's kind of a smooth. It's still sharp, but a smoother corner, and it's been pushed out, so it should feel the same, really, for the most part.
I'm really curious to try it myself after this is done.
No more questions that I can see.
Doesn't look like.
Oh, wait. Oh, never mind. That's not a question. Emmy says, how dare none of you pick Asdra? She will clearly win it. I forget Asdra's in the race.
I mean, this is the thing. The thing is that with this super competitive grid, the fact of having always a super shitty quali session, I feel I'm unable to compensate the quali result in race because people is good enough to take advantage of their quali better position. I mean, if I have a good quali, I will do podium 100%. But if I don't, it's very hard, to deal later with Thunder, to deal with Evely, with Valky, with Candy, with Kali if she's now racing again. Even the people that's not taking podiums regularly, even like Shermu or now Zenitho and Rao and Morticia, it's really hard, really hard in the end to get a podium in this series. And since I believe that doing a good quali is gonna be key this time, I mean, it was not that key for Valky, for example, that won starting from race B, but still, I don't know. I don't feel that strong as other seasons, I guess. Maybe the bad result of Tokyo affected me that way. Maybe I go to this race and I suddenly win, but I don't know. I feel I'm not that strong like I was in previous seasons, and there are other drivers that are in a better shape at the moment, being basically Eveli, Valky, Thunder, the top three at the moment, shape wise.
I feel like Mango K is going to have a similar element to Tokyo in that the opening lap, or well, I mean, it's going to be unpredictable. It's going to shake everything up. It could, because lap one, those first few corners up
Yeah.
until the S's is going to, because you, for example, you started up front, kind of like you were pretty much up toward the front in race A last time, and then you got shoved all the way to the back.
But that I have to say that it was my bad, because in the in turn two already I stepped on a slow zone, and that ruined my start. If I
Well, yeah,
don't, yeah.
regardless of fault or intent, be it by mistake or someone else's bad driving, it's still a possibility that someone starting up front could get shoved to last place in the first 5-6 corners of the lap. And it's track position. Sure, yeah, qualifying can be important, but a lot of people are still trying to figure out how to race that, because that track's still very new, and we don't race there a lot. Sure, people can practice all they want. They could put in 500 laps, but if they're not racing in traffic enough, you're not really going to know how to. And traffic management is the most important thing to learn, I'd say, because you could be the fastest driver over a single lap. That's great. You could be the fastest driver over multiple laps all by yourself. That's great. But in a big pack, you got to know how to navigate. If you don't know how to navigate, you're going to the back.
Yeah.
I foresee like a Thunder Valky front row qualifying, and maybe Valky kind of races Thunder into the third hairpin turn and messes up Thunder, which kicks him back, and Valky runs away with it, and it will build like really bad tensions between the team for GTSE and help us other teams win for GTSE.
I mean, it can happen as well between Evely and Candy, since they are both racing in GTSS as well.
Candy takes quite a pretty laxed approach to it. I think Evely does too. I mean, Evely can, she can have post races where she's either self-critical or will talk about other drivers kind of tossing her around. She'll ultimately come to the end result that it's just kind of is what it is, and she'll move on to the next race. Candy will, if she's mad, she'll just keep it to herself. But for the most part, she just kind of expects to get knocked around a lot. She doesn't really have any high expectations. So I don't think that Evely and Candy are going to have any issues if they do get into each other's way.
Yeah, I don't see an Evely Candy rivalry materializing.
Yorkie's saying goodbye. She's going to watch another stream. So thanks for sticking around. Glad you enjoyed the podcast.
We're gonna end soon anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, there are no more questions, so I guess we can already come to a close here. If you don't have anything to add.
Nah, we don't want to take up everything or try to talk about everything all at once. We have many more podcasts to come, so.
Yes, we will keep chatting about the results, about races to happen, about other news that happen on the paddock, other dramas that JC will love to commentate.
Yes, please make drama.
Make drama.
Emmy would love that. She'd tune into every single one. She'd stay up till 5 in the morning listening to drama podcasts.
Then we have to bring some drama as well. Then otherwise, we will lose her.
Oh, I see. Yorkie wasn't actually taken off. She said that she's, watching another stream or focusing on something else. But she's also still listening to this.
Nice. We appreciate Yorkie, your presence here. But yeah, I guess that is enough for today. So we have, as Luke said, some stuff reserved for next podcast. So thank you everyone who was here, listening to and watching to the stream. Remember that later today at 12 p.m. is the GT Super Series race at Mango Cay. Tomorrow, or technically today at midnight again, the grid drive, and tomorrow at 11 the sidecar race at Herrenhaus. That's the forecast for this weekend. And
if people want to race in SRL, I think they're racing this tonight at 6 p.m. So no reason to just exclude them if you want some oval racing. Go to SRL.
thing is, you can. I have no idea when the SRL race takes place, so
I don't even know where it is.
well, then next time we have to prepare that information as well, because of course some people is interested in Spirit Racing League as well. But
I would love to talk about Crystal Marie for 3 hours.
They're racing at Shadowville Raceway, looks like. So that's going to be, I think, at Kathleen's Sim. Spitfire Racing.
If you bring me some nice clips or something of pictures of the races where dramas happened with...
I don't want to be a drama podcaster.
Just for JC enjoyment, the little drama corner of the podcast.
Okay. There may be weekends if you guys want to have like a drama-filled podcast, and we want to talk about stuff like that. I might just sit it out.
We can just analyze racing incidents, objectively.
Objective criticism, that kind of stuff is fine. I'm just being silly and kidding. So.
All right, then I guess that's all for today. So thank you everyone for watching. Remember that you will have this podcast available forever in YouTube, so you can watch or listen whenever you want. And remember that you can subscribe to the channel and give your like to support the channel. You have all the news about our races in our Discord server that you will find at the description of this live stream. And this being said, see you later at GT Super Series.
Bye bye.
Later.